Hey, freaks for films! You're listening to the 4th episode of Don't Spill the Popcorn!
My name is Dylan.
And I'm Joe.
And we're two independent filmmakers who have worked together many years, here to bring you honest, critical, and enjoyable movie reviews on exclusively new films only.
You can currently reach us with any comments, concerns, or corrections at don'tspillthepopcorn@gmail.com or on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, that's right, I said Twitter pages. For a few quick updates, we have a YouTube channel up and running, bada bing, so go hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, get all those updates, notifications, whatever. And to top that off, last episode we said that we were hoping to get a Patreon up and running, and it is official. We are here. It is there. It is there. It is ready for you, and we are ready for you. If you would like to monetarily support us, if you like this and you like what's going on, it does cost a little bit of money to keep things going along, and it is a little bit of incentive to help us put the time and effort that we love so much to put into this, to keep things going, to keep pumping out these episodes. And for as little bit as $5 a month, you could get early access to our episodes and get a nice little shout out in the middle of the episode after you pledge. So please, if you like what we're doing, help us out. If not, just share, tell your friends about us. Word of mouth and sharing it along is probably the best way that we could get recognized. And it, coming authentically from one mutual friend to another from between mutual friends, it's always a better way of getting to know something. And it's always more memorable that way too.
So today we're here, and I'm very excited because we're going to be talking about Fear Street Part 1, 1994. And this is we're going to start with the non-spoilers. We always forget to talk about this. So we're going to start with the non-spoiler section, and then we will let you know when we get to the spoiler section. As well as, there's going to be, we always talk about, we usually find our way into talking about other films as well. And I'm sure that I'm going to talk about Scream a lot because there's a lot of references to the original Scream and a lot of just 90 films in general. So when we get to the spoiler section, if you haven't seen Scream 1996, for one, watch it. But two, you might get spoiled with some stuff on there too.
So I guess with that being said, Dilla Rooney,
let's get into the news section.
Let's do it. Let's get into the news. Here we go.
The Red Notice trailer, I watched that. That looked pretty good. It was like a British, like a train heist kind of situation. And I don't know much about it. I just know that it's an action film, and it's just about these three family members who kind of like go rogue, I believe, on this like mission, and they're threatening like the gas lines and stuff to all the houses in Britain, and it looks pretty good. It looks interesting. Whether I watch it or not, we'll see. I might forget about it, but if it's kind of like put in my face, I might watch it. Now, Encanto, that's a Disney movie. That looks really good. It's like, again, another colorful Disney film, and it looks fun. It looks interesting. So I'm excited to see that. That was a short trailer, so it doesn't say much. Again, like I said, I feel like this is a Scream podcast because, again, I'm going to talk about Scream 5.
Just Scream. One Scream.
Oh, yeah. It's not Scream 5. Sorry. It's just Scream. But they just announced that it was finally completed. It's 100% done, and that should be out. When did I say that was supposed to be out? January? It's supposed to be out in January of 2022. Oh, I can't wait. I got to watch all the other ones again, which I've already watched hundreds of times, but I'm going to watch them again and make Cameron watch them all again. And I'm so excited. So it's going to be great. Yeah. You should. I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. I think everyone keeps saying how, like, everyone seems like they were getting really excited, any, like, horror fan, and I can tell that they're going to, I think it's going to be, I really do think it's going to be good. Everyone who's worked on it definitely thinks it's going to be good. And a lot of the main casts, like Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox and stuff, who have been through all the other ones, they keep, they weren't going to sign on originally, especially Nev Campbell, and they read the script and they knew how well it was going to be, and the directors that were handling it, so they did it.
What if one of the actors, like, whenever people were like, "Hey, how do you feel about this movie that's coming out?" and they're just like, yeah, I don't know, I kind of had a shitty time. I don't think I like it. I hope that you like it, but I think it sucks.
I feel like that's some of the shit that I've worked on, where I'm just like, ugh, I don't know. But speaking of things I've worked on, the Sweet Girl trailer was just dropped, and I worked on that throughout 2019 and then the beginning of 2020. And the trailer just released, and it looks really good. It's going to be like an action film. It takes place in Pittsburgh, and it's starring Jason Momoa and Isabella. I think her last name spelled Merced. And it actually is her birthday today, the 10th of July. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And Sweet Girl will be released on Netflix on August 20th of 2021. So look for that. I'm sure that we are going to review it because I put my sweat and tears into that as well. So I have some probably backstories, at least for the art department part of it. So we'll see. Look for that one.
Get some legit behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, maybe get just some pictures we can throw up online behind the scenes of the sets and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, might as well.
Army of the Dead prequel, is there some things that they've released about it? Because I haven't seen shit about that.
So Army of the Dead prequel is already finished filming. It's already done.
It's done.
It was done in 2020.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Yeah, so filming began in Germany in October 2020 and was finished in December of 2020.
Man, either I live in a box or they keep this shit under wraps.
Yeah, I didn't know that until today. That's insane. I knew that there was a prequel, but I thought they were going to still film it or were filming it currently. But no, that's been filmed. And like I said, it's a prequel, so it takes place before the events of Army of the Dead, but it's like during the beginning stages of the zombie outbreak. So at least this is like the stories I'm wondering if we're going to be missing that we wanted before. We're like, I want to see when things unravel, when the world starts to fall to shit. But it's also kind of like one of those heist movies again. It's just about, it's with Dieter. It's just with him, and hit a crew trying to like pretty much break in, do some heist again.
Well, hopefully they have a plot that's real thick.
I hope it's good. It looks like they might have used different lenses for this one too. They might have used their old different lenses, I hope, just to try to eliminate some of those dead pixels. Speaking of dead pixels, I finally found a way to fix our dead pixels in our movie. It did take a little bit of work, but my program, Vegas Pro, actually has something, a plugin that helps eliminate them. You have to kind of track motion them and place the area where the dead pixel is, and like I used a lot of motion and movements with mine where the dead pixel might have moved digitally afterwards, so I had to like trace those and stuff. So it was a lot of work, but I got rid of them, thank goodness. So Army of the Dead has no excuse if this independent filmmaker of budget of like $0 can eliminate mine. I think they can eliminate theirs. So no excuse for them.
You just got fucking dunked on, Zack Schneider. You just got dunked on. By an indie filmmaker, my dude, with a budget of $500.
Maybe. I was gonna say I think it's probably less than 500. I think we really spent like nothing on that film.
No, just
like barely anything.
Just in general, just in like what your typical budget is.
Oh yeah, I would say yeah.
I would say an average around 500 overall.
But I would say anywhere between $20 to maybe $500, $600.
Yeah,
it's my budgets,
and he could fix it under that budget with a program that he already had. Bum 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 bum. Victory is yours.
It's insane.
Victory is yours. Quick little kick in the ass to Cruella. Apparently, it's just one of those things where the movies for the kids swoops on in and kicks Cruella to the curb. Boss Baby sequel tops Cruella's opening draw by 14%. Bada bing.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I honestly, Boss Baby is a fairly new thing, and I overall felt like Cruella was one of those movies that had a wide enough gaze upon an audience that it would have drew in more people than I would have thought for Boss Baby. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Boss Baby really wasn't a bad movie. It was a pretty cool idea. But I would have thought that something like this, especially like a backstory of a Disney character that's been around for decades, I just really would have thought that would have crushed something like Boss Baby.
Absolutely. And the fact that Boss Baby 2, it's a sequel, you know what I mean? The fact that the sequel's beating the first of the Cruella films, like the live action. Well, I guess, I don't know, whatever we want to call that one, because there's been a couple of them, but I don't know. It's unfortunate, actually.
Yeah. I mean, this Boss Baby movie might have been highly anticipated. I didn't really follow from the first one, and honestly, I can't even tell you how long it's been since the first one. I feel like it's been at least 5 years.
I feel like there aren't babies anymore.
Yeah, it's all a lie. Everyone's buying into this baby lie.
I'd say, yeah, they'd probably be 6 years old by now. I don't know. Actually, I'm curious. When did Boss Baby come out? Let's look. 2017.
Okay, shit. So, you were so right, dude. You called that shit. Do you remember last episode you had said you already see it, you already have the feeling that everyone's going to be Cruella for Halloween this year?
Did I say that? I don't remember.
Well, you're goddamn right. Yeah, you did say it. You said it. You called it, dude. Because everybody is going to be Cruella this year for Halloween.
I'm going to be Cruella for Halloween this year.
Everybody's already coming up with costume ideas. It is absolutely nuts. There was actually this guy that he's kind of like how Cruella was portrayed in the movie, like as kind of like an at-home kind of do-it-yourself, but also kind of working to be a prestigious like fashion artist. And he made his own Cruella outfit for his prom.
Oh my god, that's so cool! I want to see it. Oh my god, I didn't know that. That's neat. Was it good? Did it look nice?
Yeah, he looked like he was killing it, dude. Like it was nice. He had the makeup going on too. He had like his lips split like one half. Like the white was on the right and the black was on the right side of his lips. And, you know what I mean? Like split it like that. Like
okay.
It looked good.
That's
exciting.
It
looked good for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, I'm curious to see how many Cruellas we have to hand out candy to this year.
So many Cruellas. Everyone. All of them. Especially because Cruella's cruelty-free now.
They're royalty-free?
No, cruelty-free.
Oh.
Like, I'm going to use that shit for everything.
Go back to the old days.
Jesus
I don't know. Speaking of old days, apparently they didn't have the cigarette holder in this one because
beautiful transition.
Because Disney no longer allows any involvement with cigarettes on set, which is pretty proactive, I guess.
Did you notice that?
I actually didn't notice. No, I didn't notice at first. No.
I just neglected to say something about it.
Okay.
That was like but I wasn't sure. Like, I thought that there was going to be a point where she started to smoke, like especially due to her stress and everything that was going on. Like, I thought she would pick up that habit, but she never picked it up. She never did it. And that's apparently, I feel Emma Stone kind of said that was actually something that she was interested and was kind of looking for, like having that animated green puff of smoke always coming from her cigarette and stuff like that. But Disney said, hell no, cigs bad. No cigs on set. So, I mean, I'm not against that.
I mean, I guess it's proactive for them to do that. Yeah. And it wouldn't have added to the story or anything. Like, it would have just lived. Like, it lived. I didn't notice. I mean, I don't think every movie should, like, I guess if every like production company was like, no cigarettes ever anymore, I'd be like, well, that's kind of lame, because especially when you do a period piece, everyone smoked in the day. You know what I mean? Like, we made that film and that's all you did. That's all we did in it was smoke, which sucked for us, especially you mainly. But, for some reason, there's something about it that kind of like adds like a layer of something, tells something, especially for a period piece or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like the younger crowd, like the younger audience that's kind of coming to, like, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more vaporizers and stuff like that in movies opposed to cigarettes. I feel like we're going to be seeing that a lot more now, because I feel like...
Could you imagine Cruella walking around with a vape? Just like...
I'm dead serious, though. I feel like I just watched something recently that I had already seen something like that, where someone was using...
Oh, yeah, I see it all the time now.
I was like, oh shit, they're using these in movies and shit too. I was pretty surprised.
Was it Lucifer?
Maybe.
Because one of the guy that pretends to be like the acts like Lucifer, like he's the one actor.
Also, apparently, last week Cruella officially pulled in $200 million as their total.
And actually, we didn't get to talk about the Joker Cruella situation.
To be completely honest, I don't see any connections whatsoever. Like on a deeper level, so I guess this is our answer to this. It's just on a deeper level of connecting between characters. You know, we're talking about somebody who seems to have their wits about them, you know, going through some serious struggles, opposed to someone who also goes through a lot of shit, but also seems to be suffering from mental illness.
Both of them kind of seem,
what I mean?
though, that they have like a mental thing. Like just the Joker has like a more extreme version of that. But I mean, I think Cruella also has like a split personality situation going on. I think the similarities between the two is more about the style of filmmaking. Like I felt like I seen more of a style similarity opposed to Joker Cruella similarity themselves, other than like the mental illness situation.
So I guess pretty much the conclusion is it was just one of those things where two of the directors saw the tiniest bit of similarity and used it to, you know, for a conversational piece between each other, and then somebody just so happened to be listening or recording that conversation and was like, oh, these two fucking balloon heads came up with this idea to put in for this shit, and now it's news. And then everybody's like, share, like, oh my God.
I want to talk about Fear Street, Part 1, 1994. So
facts, let's get into it.
Might as well listen to the trailer. Let's do it.
Wow, we're just gonna do it just like that? We're gonna throw them right into the trailer?
We're gonna throw them right in the trailer. You guys ready to hear this trailer?
Jesus Christ, all right, here it's coming.
Dude, what the hell?
This is exactly why you have no friends.
Look, some gal killed a bunch of people at the mall last night.
Holy shit. Another Shady Side tragedy. Fits the narrative, right?
Sarah fears that. Christ, not you two.
There's no angry, dead witch. The only thing that made him go crazy is this town.
The dude was wearing a Halloween skull mask. How is that not fun? Guys, I think there's someone in the woods.
We're together for one night and dead people are trying to kill us. Maybe we are doomed.
She was so sexy, but so crazy.
Normal bitches don't bleed black blood.
How do we not die? I'm looking at you, witch nerd.
You can't stop it.
The brief description from IMDb is: a circle of teenage friends accidentally encounter the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their own town for over 300 years. Welcome to Shadyside. It's pretty basic. I don't think that it's worth crickets, I guess, like the last one was, but it's still a pretty bland-ass description.
It is. Are they talking about Shadyside in Pittsburgh?
I don't think that they are.
That's all I keep thinking of. That's all I keep thinking of. Every time I hear Shadyside, I'm like, oh, are we going to go bar hopping?
Yeah, I know. That's my first thoughts, too. I was like, oh, sweet. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. And then it wasn't in Pittsburgh. Where's it at? It's in Ohio, isn't it?
No.
I think this takes place in Ohio.
Does it?
I think that Shadyside, Ohio, I think is what it is. If it's not, you can send it on over to the corrections department at don'tspillthepopcorn@gmail.com.
It's very nice. I like when films don't necessarily have like a distinct location. They're not like
Rhode Island.
This takes place in Ontario, Canada, or this takes place in yeah, like our film. I mean, it depends. It depends on the film, but I like it because it's like situations like this kind of movie, for example. It's like it could be in any city or town. It doesn't necessarily have to be in California or Florida or Texas or wherever. It can be anywhere.
Yeah, and that's actually what would bother me more because, sometimes it makes you feel easier when you see terrible things happening and you know that it's nowhere near you. It's just happening far away. And you're like, that's fine. That's fine.
You're like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Whew.
But then when you don't know where it's happening and it makes you feel like it could be anywhere, and that makes it even yuckier. I agree with that. It definitely can feel grosser if you don't have that control of knowing where it is. So categorized under the drama, horror, mystery genres, this rated R Netflix original directed by Leigh Janiak is the first of a trifecta horror series that has pulled together a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb and 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty nice coming from Rotten Tomatoes, because Rotten Tomatoes does not cut breaks to movies, that's for sure. And a 2 out of 5 on Common Sense Media. I'm not sure why Metacritic wasn't popping up and this Common Sense Media was popping up. I have no idea who they are. They're like that weird uncle that your dad never told you about that showed up to the cookout. And you're like, who is this? Who is this fucking guy? And he's giving his opinion and it just sucks. He's like giving his shitty opinion is 2 out of 5. Yeah, so whoever runs Common Sense Media, you're not on the side of don't spill the popcorn, because that's a pretty rough review. And if you didn't like this movie, we might not like you.
Amen. I agree.
We're calling you out. So if you have a complaint about it, hit us up at don'tspillthepopcorn@gmail.com.
Why don't you give us your 5-star review online thingy person said?
Yeah, the online thingy 5-star reviewy person happened to say a great homage to horror was the title. I am so excited for these movies. I adored these books when I was a teenager. To see it come to life at a rating that is now for adults got me even more excited. I'm going to have to dig out my books and reread them. I love the fact that they put the books in the first 5 minutes of the movie, which is a pretty cool thing that they did there, by the way. It was fun to see, she said. And the music show is a frickin' blast to listen to. They insert all this serious 90s nostalgia in this nice little horror-y fun pack. And she just mentions that it's kind of a lot like watching Scream, and it's definitely worth the watch. So that is a very kind 5-star review there. There is one coming up from you, Dylan, I believe, that is not so kind.
It is not. And they go on to say, just terrible. I can't imagine R.L. Stine was happy with this crap. Such a missed opportunity. The first 5 minutes in the mall were basically the first 5 minutes of the movie Scream. That was the best part of the movie. I was a kid in the 90s, and this film failed on every level to get the feeling of the 90s.
Apparently, whoever Dylan thinks wrote this review also had a stroke, and their typing sounds like they had a stroke.
I just don't understand why somebody could hate it so much, especially for all the hints to Scream. If that's what you love anyway, like just let it be. They did it in their own way and it was cool. But whatever, everyone has their own thing.
I just wanted to clarify too that this review is actually 1 out of 10, not just 1 out of 5.
What do you mean?
I shit you not. Like his rating was 1 out of 10. Not 1 out of 5, because I put 1-star review, so you would typically think 1 out of 5, but this is so low that it's 1 out of 10.
So was this the same person that might have helped give the rating on Common Sense Media?
Oh boy, I hope not. If it's you, now I know your profile on IMDb. All right, Dylan. Well, how about you go in and tell the listeners about some of these extremely unfamiliar faces that are in this movie.
Really extremely unfamiliar faces. They're unfamiliar to me as well, except for the one, what's her name? She played on she played in Stranger Things, the show. I think her name is...
Tell me that you don't know what the characters' names are, Dylan.
I do know.
Tell me that you don't know.
I know them.
Oh my God.
I know them. But
that name game.
But
Dylan might get that name game.
She played her real name is I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but it's Maya Hawke. But she plays in
Maya
Maya Maya Maya. Her character is Heather. She's the beginning girl.
Oh, okay.
She's a beginning girl, but she
Okay.
she plays in the Stranger Things show. So that was cool. But we'll talk a little bit more about all that stuff in the spoiler section. Other than that,
I feel like I should remember her because I watched the shit out of Stranger Things and I don't remember her.
I don't think she was in the first two. I think she was in the last season, and then the newest one's coming up. And actually, as well as Fear Street Part 2, 1978, there is another character from Stranger Things who is playing in that as well.
Ooh.
So there's two different Stranger Things as of now. Who knows? Maybe the third movie is going to have even more. I have no idea. But I know the first two. I didn't want to look too much because I have not watched the second one yet. And I'm trying not to get spoiled. Although I might watch that tonight or tomorrow. Hopefully.
Tonight. Yes. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Are you watching it tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight, dude. Fuck yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm afraid I'll fall asleep because I got to make notes while I'm doing it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to watch it twice because I actually found that it was beneficial to watch the movie 2 times.
Yes. I loved watching this twice. I did like watching this twice.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it twice. I didn't think that I would, because I'm always just such a stiff about watching a movie more than once in 10 billion years for some reason. I don't know why I've developed that characteristic, but it was nice. I enjoyed watching it a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
And I feel like I enjoyed it more the first time just because it was like the wow factor, but it was still like, wow, I want to buy it. I hope it comes out in Blu-ray or something because I really want to buy all 3 of them. So some of the main faces in this film are Kiana Madeira. She plays on the Taken TV series, which I've watched. The Flash TV series, Coroner TV series, Dark Matter. Olivia Scott Welch played in Modern Family and Panic TV series. Benjamin Flores Jr. played in Happy Feet 2, Ride Along. The voice of Gerald on Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie, which is impressive, and Your Honor TV series.
Have you ever heard of this director before?
I have not.
No. Yeah, me either. But I am so glad that it was a female director on this movie. Super stoked about that. I like I've said in the previous episodes that I didn't really ever spend a lot of time looking into directors, but I feel like anytime that I ever see a director's name pop up, it's always a male. Always, almost always. I don't know how often maybe you notice, but how many female directors would you say you usually see that's prominently popping up from movies?
Not too many, but surprisingly for me personally, I believe the show that I'm working on now, there's a female director. The show that I worked on last was also a female director.
Oh, nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. I feel like a lot of female directors don't get enough recognition. So
they absolutely don't.
Definitely,
they do great when they do. I'm happy to see them because they're the ones who are willing to really give it their all and make a difference. Talk about something different. While a lot of the male directors seem to stay on the same path,
cut and dry.
The female directors are they're I want to make a different story. I want to talk about what's real.
The females are taking risks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And they're risking it in the right way.
So that's why I love this section here where we just kind of throw a little bit of, hey, this is the director at you. And so director, and I wish that I wasn't probably screwing this name up, but Leigh Janiak was the film director and screenwriter, one of the screenwriters for this film. Her feature film directorial debut was the horror mystery Honeymoon from 2014, starring Rose Leslie and Harry Treadway. Janiak has been generating a lot of buzz after it was announced that she was attached to direct and co-write the sequel for the 1996 cult thriller The Craft. Leigh has also recently directed episodes with the hit television series Scream, the TV series, which is awesome, as well as directing on another television series, Outcast. So, looks pretty good. It's a pretty nice resume there.
I mean, it's small. It's a very small resume. And for her to put out these 3 movies, and at least the first one because again, I'm trying not to look up any information about the other ones because I don't want to be spoiled. But as far as the first one, she did amazing, and I'm sure that she did just as good, if not better, on the other two.
Yeah, and I think that's. I was wondering that. I was like, I wonder if they're going to have a different director, having a different eye for every movie, because that just seems like that's what they would do. You know what I mean? It just seems like they would be like, okay, let's get a different, especially because they do that for like TV shows and stuff too. They have different people directing episodes and stuff like that.
That usually does happen, but she's directed all three of them.
Yeah, but I'm glad because the first one turned out so good that I have very high expectations for the rest of them.
I agree. And what's weird is there's really no, like, for some reason we're finding not a lot of information about this film, like when it comes to like the budget or box office. So if we find out,
or even news.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, I've even tried to like listen to podcasts at work, and it was hard for me to even find podcasts that are covering this. Yeah. So I don't know why.
It's pretty quiet. The reviews aren't quiet, but as far as like any content that's really like covering it, I'm not seeing a lot of it. I mean, for the second film, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of shit. But obviously we can't talk about any of that right at this moment, or at least there's no point. But for the first one, unless it got swept under the rug because the second one came out so soon, I guess we'll find out in the following weeks when we get to episode 2 and there's no information out like that because the part 3 came out. So who knows? We'll see. Which is pretty much, that's kind of spoiling to let you people know right now that we will be doing part 2 and 3. And I think that you might have said something earlier about that too.
You're one who officially said it on our Instagram.
I don't remember. Oh yeah, but nobody knows. Nobody's on our Instagram. But if you are, thank you so much for following our Instagram. Thank you.
So our general thoughts, at least my general thoughts on this movie, I loved this movie. I loved it so much. It reminded me a lot of Scream, obviously, and as well as a lot of people. It was colorful. I love slasher films, and we don't get a lot of them anymore. So I was so happy to see this be a slasher, but on top of it, be a witch film, because I love films about witches and stuff as well, and kind of like a paranormal situation. It was just clever, and the lighting was great. I just truly think that this is a great film, and the fact that there's 3 different ones that are all connected is very cool, and that they're all coming out like weeks back to back, because you still feel like you're watching a film, but it's almost treated like a TV series or something. It's very cool. So I recommend this film, and I'm hoping to recommend all 3 of them.
Dude, I am so excited. I fucking loved this movie. I loved it. It was just wonderful. The music was pristine. The music was just absolutely epic. The contrast and the lighting all over the place was just so beautiful. Everything was like the mix of the colors and I just loved it, man. Everything was great. The acting I thought was wonderful. I wasn't a huge fan of the cop. I think that was the only actor in the whole film that I was like, meh. I think I would have liked you more if you were somebody else. But I also thought that he was someone else at first too. But to wrap up my general thoughts, like I was saying, dude, I love this movie. It was great. It was beautiful. Everyone did good. The story was awesome. It was great to get a good slasher. I think that the concept and the plot was great. I wasn't bothered or noticed or cared to notice any cliches whatsoever. I was locked in. And like we were saying, I'm not usually one to really be too excited to dive into watching a movie twice, but you know that this was meant for us to do a review of, because I was absolutely overjoyed to watch it more than one time. And I'm even more pumped to continue on through the series after we're done with this review. I feel lucky that we get to do this at this time. I feel, honestly, that's how much I love this, is I honestly just feel thankful that it's happening at a time that we're doing this podcast.
I agree. I wish I would have we were able to do it a week prior, because we're kind of a week behind. And then by the time this comes out, we're like 3 weeks behind. So everything's already going to be out by the time we release this one. But at least we're doing it. And I agree. I think it's a great film.
Yeah, we're special. We're unique. So maybe some people will just want to hear especially what we think. Maybe.
I hope so. Especially because I haven't, like I said, seen a lot of podcasts reviewing this film.
Gonna catch that buzz. We're gonna catch that buzz.
You said I just want to reach before we get into the spoiler section. The music I wanted to talk about as well real quick, because you said about the music being great, and the music was so good. It was so good and really, really brought this into the Scream feel. And the reason being is because the composer was the same guy that did all 4 Screams. And I don't think the newest Scream, but all 4 Screams, as well as The Faculty and I think some other 90s horror films that really made it feel like they were all from the 90s. So this film, it takes place in the 90s, and I personally think it feels like the 90s. Unlike that 1-star review who says it didn't feel like the 90s, I thought they did really well at making you feel like you were in the 90s.
Yeah, they're full of shit, dude. They're full of shit. If anything, they tried too hard to make it feel like the 90s. You know what I mean? That would be more of a better critique than it didn't feel like the 90s. Everything was the fucking 90s. They made one mistake, dude. One mistake. And it's so stupid, and I bet almost nobody else noticed that they used when Josh was typing on his computer, he was using a font that only started to exist in 2007.
I know. I seen that today too. I seen it. Yeah.
That's it. That's really it. Of all other things, there was Beastie Boy posters. You know, they're listening to 9 Inch Nails. They're listening to fucking Soundgarden, Rob Zombie. Dude, and speaking of Josh, that's my dude right there.
Yeah,
if
he
I
was
was
good.
a
I liked
kid,
him.
I would have hung out with that kid for sure. He's the shit. Iron Maiden shirt, dude. That kid had great taste.
And he seemed like he was just into all this heavy research and doing all this stuff, and just he was definitely one of my top characters. And again, with agreeing with you, the cop was not one of my favorite characters. He was a waste. I feel like we might get more information about him from the 78 version, maybe. I feel like there's something to be told with his character. And he, like you said, you thought he was somebody else. Did you think he was the guy from The Office?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Ryan Howard.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. First thing I was like, no way.
Then it wasn't.
And I waited for it. And I was like, who are you?
Who are you?
Oh my God. Beautiful reference. Yeah, so I was pretty surprised by that. I was totally shocked because the similarities were so close that it was I would have been actually happy because he probably would have actually did a pretty good job.
I think that we talked about our general thoughts in the non-spoiler section. I think it's about time to get into the spoiler section.
Here comes that fucking crazy piano that is so obnoxious. Hello, folks. Welcome to the spoiler section. Dylan and I was just talking about some weird shit that's not going to be included in this at all, but that's why I'm laughing.
Thank God.
Yeah, nobody should ever get to know about what we were just talking about.
We're talking about my student debt.
So here we are, my friend. We made it. We got this far. We got some good shit to talk about, my friend. So here we are in the spoiler section where everything goes and everyone knows. First thing, right off the bat, one of the first notes that I made pretty much immediately was this movie, and I don't know what sort of thing is going on in my brain, like some Freudian explanation for what's going on in my brain for why my ego is thinking of this, but it feels like we made this movie, dude. Something about this movie, I swear, and maybe you're not thinking this at all, but I swear,
No, I wasn't at all.
It feels like we came up with this movie. That almost from top to bottom feels like a movie that we would, if we were doing a big production and we had the chance to do a bigger production, and that would be kind of like a movie that we would do. was just
Oh man, I wish.
I'm dead serious. Like, I watched this movie the whole time, and I just felt like, wow, like this is totally something that we would have came up with and did. Like, realistically, opposed to all the other movies that I watch. Like, most of the time I don't see a movie and be like, yeah, we probably would have did some shit like that. Like Army of the Dead or anything like that. Like, I could just never,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But there's something about this movie just felt like it was really up our alley and really like niche for us as far as like how a lot of things happened if we had the
Because
budget.
we do slashers a lot.
Yeah, it just felt good. Like it felt really nice. I just love that vibe. And so that already drew me into the movie immediately.
I agree. I mean, I didn't think that throughout the whole thing, but I felt felt a certain connection with this. For some reason, it just stood out to me compared to most films. Like, I was like clicked in right away. Like, right away, I was like, I feel it. I see it. Like, everything about it looks like something I'm going to love. And the whole ride, I loved it.
And speaking of the music too, they record them playing along with the movie playing. The conductor is kind of conducting the band through the movie, and they're recording playing with the movie. Have you ever heard of that? How they do that?
So, yes, his name is Marco Beltrami, and he did a lot of music, like for a lot of different films. And again, mentioning like the original Scream films, but I think what happened was I never really like he did like The Thing 2011 and stuff like that. Some of these other films that I've seen that he's done the music for, I never really noticed like the Scream music feel to it as much. But this movie, I feel like he really honed into it. He's like, this is what I did in the 90s, and this is what I use. Like the orchestra, very orchestral, heavy, like you were saying, and it was so effective. I want that music again. I want that back.
So effective. Like, better than what most movies do anymore. You know, they use like, you know what I mean? They just use ominous noises and shit like that for movies most of the time. Or like, you know, personally created sounds that they make in studios and shit like that.
Which is fine sometimes. Some movies are really effective, but I really think that this was great.
Sure. Or at least a hybrid of sorts, you know what I mean? Like, kind of, it doesn't have to be an orchestra necessarily, but just something along those lines where it's just a lot more, just feels more organic, and it just feels more complete. It really, the way that music marries so well with horror films.
I agree. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Moving on from the music, very proud of him. I'm so happy that he was able to hone in those skills from the 90s that he had on, you know, like Scream films and The Faculty and those horror films back in the day, and to really bring that into now and still make it feel like the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
So, yes.
So good.
Done with the music, but awesome. I loved it.
So tell me about that opening scene, Dylan. Tell me that it didn't make you feel like they were ripping off of the Scream movies and actually just feeling like it's doing its own thing.
Oh, I feel like it was doing its own thing.
So many bad comments that people were like, oh, they're just trying to rip off a Scream. And I was like, not really.
They're showing that, you know, their love for Scream by doing it their own way, though. There's some things that are almost exact, like the fact like him running behind Heather, you know, when she's running away in the mall and he's chasing her and it's in slow motion. He like, you know, like that's just like, spoiler for Scream, but that is just like Drew Barrymore when she's running away and he, you know, Scream's chasing her and it's like in slow motion, and then they fall and then he turns her around and, you know, Drew Barrymore takes the mask off and Heather takes the mask off, the skeleton mask off. Like, it's the same thing but different in a way, and the buildup is different.
It absolutely is. And just like as much as I wish that Drew Barrymore stuck around throughout the whole Scream movie, I actually wish that Heather would have been around for the whole movie as well.
And that's what they brought in, a known person, a, you know, the Strangers thing, like, you know, person that they were like, oh, she's gonna be here for the whole movie. And they did the Scream thing where it's like you expected it. And that was actually a Drew Barrymore, you know, decision for Scream. She was supposed to play Neve Campbell, or not Neve, Sidney Prescott. And she was like, nope, I think this is how we should do it. And they're like, okay. And it worked. And then Scream stuck to that format. So, and then they did the same thing, and it really worked. It sucks that people think that it's a complete ripoff, because it's not.
I think if they pull it off, what the hell's wrong with it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If it's not cringy and it's done really well and it's not offensive to the forefathers that have given them the idea to do it in the first place, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? It's awesome. I think that is good stuff.
Yeah. And there's a few other places in here too throughout this film where they, I'll mention that they also play homage to the, Scream film or Scream films in general. And I'm excited to just see where they, to talk about it and to, like, go into detail because they still have their own film. They still have their own movie. Like, the lighting in this movie. Like, can we just talk about the lighting for the minute? Like, the lighting was amazing.
You read my mind. Because I was like, wow, we're just getting into the details of, like, the specifics of, you know what I mean? The intricacies of the behind the scenes and stuff like that for the movies. The lighting, man. Wow. Like, totally wow. Everything was so flashy, but, like, appropriate. At no point was it obnoxious. I mean, at that one point in the first scene, like, that blue when she was in the room and she was calling 911, that was, like, super intense.
Well, the blue was actually black light. That was a black light. That's why it looked like that. Yeah. So it made everything else glow, and it gave it that look. Like, there's no other way around making it look the way it does.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was, like, a neon light or if it was a black light.
Yeah. Yeah, it fleshes out the skin weird, like a weird way, but...
I wanted a little bit more darkness in that shot. Like, I wanted to have kind of a harder, like, seeing, like, half of her face. And instead of, like, seeing all of her, you know what I mean? That was the only shot where I was like, too much. Like, it would have been nice if they kind of split it up a little bit.
Okay.
But that's my only critique with the lighting, though. Throughout the rest of the movie, I was like, oh, my goodness. So perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It complemented every scene.
I love the lighting in this film. I mean, even... that black light in Spencer's or wherever they're at, that store, Halloween Spencer's is what we'll call them, I guess. It's the Halloween store. Or the Spirit Halloween of the 90s, where Spencer's used to be that closed down, so they figured they're going to put in a Spirit Halloween in there. But I don't know. I agree with the fact that I wish there was more harsh shadows. We do that in our films. We like harsh shadows in our films, but... all in all, I mean, I still liked it. I think if there was harsh shadows, I think we would have loved it so much. Even if it was the same kind of lighting, just with a little bit more darkness, a little bit more, living darkness in there. But I think that the lighting was great in all the locations. In the store, like, was awesome too. Like, having that, like, having it dark but still being able to see inside the store at the end and stuff like that. So, or the school. Or outside. All the lighting. I love the lighting.
Camera work was great too, man. Camera work was great. I think that they also, there's a couple points in the movie where they kind of do the camera work that's reminiscent of other films, horror related in the past, that, they kind of try to replicate those moments a little bit. One more specifically that I'm sure that that's the first one that you would think of off the top of your head. From The Shining. They kind of brought back that kind of feeling from The Shining when he's smacking at that door with the axe.
Okay, and I actually have that written in my notes. Surprising that you said that, because that's exactly, which we can get. We can get there, but
oh yeah, we'll get there.
We'll talk about that. But yeah. So camera angles, I like the push pulls that they have, where the zoom in background thing, or just some of the dolly shots of just like. Without the zooms, just the pushing in or pulling out of the camera, it looks really good.
Dude, when they came across the shelves, when she went to that other book, when Ryan was there trying to stab her ass, when they dollied over from the one aisle to the next aisle, and
he was there.
He wasn't there, but then he just kind of scooped out real slow, so smooth.
Oh,
so good, dude.
It was the way they had. The killer. I love the killer's look. I love his look. And did you jump when... Let's go back a little bit first off. When Ryan is in the calls her, again, the calling on the old phone, that's kind of reminiscent of Scream as well, but calls her, Heather, I should say, calls Heather, and he scares her with, like, the blow-up doll or whatever, and says... He says, what did you say? And she said, I didn't say anything, because he heard, he had the fly on him and stuff, and that's when he changed. So that's when the witch took over.
And I didn't notice that until the second time that I watched it. I didn't realize why he would have been...
You didn't notice the fly?
Yeah, that. And I, for some reason, didn't put together later why he said, what's that? Because I was like, why the fuck would why is he saying that? Like why would he have heard something? I didn't end up putting that together. I was like, why did he change? Like, what happened? So that was actually something I wasn't sure of till the second time around.
Well, I don't know why they changed. I still don't get that. Why they just randomly like become possessed in a way by the switch. I didn't.
Yeah. Well, he's the only one that I just don't have it figured out why. I just understood that whatever happened there had to do with that.
Yeah.
Because before, I didn't understand that he would have been hearing her whisper, the witch.
See, I didn't hear the whisper at first because at first I thought that Heather said something like because she repeated and she's like weirdo. I thought she said weirdo whispering it and he got pissed off. And that's why he, like when I didn't know witches were involved. That's what was in my brain. I thought it was just some straight slasher. He's pissed, or she's just going to be a red herring, and we're not going to know who the killer was. So that was really a shocker when they showed him right away. I was like, "Wait, so now we already know who the killer is?" When she rips that that mask off of him after she attacks him,
right? And then immediately,
yeah, shot right in the head.
Did the janitor scare you?
The janitor did not scare me, but what did scare me is when she was in her work and she's like, the books are falling off. She goes to pick up that one and like he runs across from one aisle to the next real quick and it's just like, bah, whatever that sound sting that's in there. It scared the shit out of me. I was like, holy.
Ooh, he's fast.
Oh my God. I love how fast he was because he made me scared because of how fast he was. Like when he's chasing them throughout this film, he runs like sprint, not just like Scream runs, but he
just poof.
Jets. He is gone. He is,
and I love that shot too. That slow motion kill was so sick. And then turning around, it looked like it hurt so bad when he plunged the knife into her chest. Like the actor looked like no mercy. Like it looked like
it would hurt. It would hurt so bad.
Plunged that knife into her chest.
Or when they fall, when he attacks her and they fall on the ground, they slide across the ground for a little bit and the blood slides across the ground with them.
One creepy mofo for sure. That costume, very effective. The only critique that I have before we kind of start trying to move on from this opening scene wasn't that 911 call so stupid?
Yeah, shit, her acting for that 911 call was bad.
So bad, yeah. Like if that's how bad the screenplay was, she should have improvised some shit that was better than that in there, for sure.
Hi, I'm at Shadyside Mall and
got distracted. What?
Yeah.
Is anyone hurt? Hello.
Or even like when she sees the mask, she's just like when she she's trying to like hide from him in that Spencer's store or whatever. And she comes across that first skull mask. She's like, oh my God! Like yeah. I'm sure you see it. Like the angle for us looks different, but it was so obvious that you would have been able to see it. But when she goes in front of the other one and it's actually him when she goes to walk away, that's reminiscent of Scream 3 when Jenny McCartney's character, she hides in it takes place in Hollywood. They're making a stab film, which is of the Scream films, and she's hiding in the rack of like ghost face costumes, and then the one is actually real, and he like peeks his head around, which is more effective in my opinion on Scream 3 than it was in this film, but this was still reminiscent and it was still cool.
Yeah. I think that their death acting was very good too. Like that's something that I usually critique pretty hard because it varies between people, and I feel like more times than not, I'm like unhappy with how they act dying opposed to like most people. So I think that they did really good, especially her when she was choking up that blood. That reminded me of Seth in that one short. It was like, and he's spitting all the blood out. It reminded me of that. But I think that she did really, really good.
Well, the only thing I would say about that, when she was spitting the blood out, I could tell that she had a big glob in there, and she was waiting like a point where she was just like, okay, now this is the point where I spit it out. So I like bring it up from the back of my mouth to the front and like let it kind of spew out. I could tell that was the only part that was just like, yeah. But other than that, it does look painful. And again, her death was shocking. His death was shocking. I was just like, holy shit. But yeah, so now we're left. There's 8 dead at the mall. That's what it says, I think, in the opening credits. So now we're at the opening credits. And those opening credits were great. I loved them. The colors of the story, like we got a lot to learn from, just a lot of history.
Movies will waste time in those opening credits where they'll just be kind of like, kind of giving you glimpses of shit, but it's like, it feels like they could be getting so much, they could be using their time more wisely or shortening it up. Like those Spider-Man movies, you remember how long those opening credits were for the Spider-Man movies and nothing fucking happened the whole time? You just got a bunch of names and saw some cool graphics. But that could have chopped out like almost 8 minutes of movie. I swear to God, it felt like it was forever.
So it must be a Dylan Hoffman film.
Oh, maybe. Hey-oh.
Me and my credits, I swear, our opening credits on our films are usually way too long. Not as much anymore, but they used to be way too long. I'm like, I gotta make them long. I'm gonna reach that hour mark. I do like credits though that give like opening credits that give progression to the story in a way, or a history of the story, which this one kind of does, and as well as just have like visually pleasing stuff going on, and then kind of like we'll still go into the film itself, like even if there's still names coming up. I just hate when it's just completely black with names, black with names, black with names, like just no screen, just white names, just all over for like 10 minutes, which we've done, and that's why I said that's boring, that sucks. I try to not do that as much anymore, but in certain situations, certain movies, that's a little bit more forgiving, and I understand, especially if it's shorter. But this one did well. I think this one did well with their credits.
For sure. Yeah, so they go through the kind of like the tragedies that have happened throughout all of the years in this town called Shadyside, which is conveniently right next to a place called Sunnyside. So they go throughout all of the years there, and then we get that fucking awesome logo drop.
Oh, yes.
Wasn't that logo drop fantastic? That like, it just punches you in the face with 1994 with that brutal scream.
Yep, it was really good. Like, it was like the spray paint. The spray paint 1994, because spray painting was like such a big thing in the 90s.
Oh, maybe that's why that guy, I think his name was Martin, that's why he was being held up in
at the jail,
at the police station the whole time. Yeah, because he spray painted 1994.
I didn't realize that. Until the second watch. Oh, he's the one who wrote the credits. Like, you bastard, you get in here.
Yep. Shame on you.
He comes back, by the way. No spoiler alert, but like, because this is like in the trailers, but I'm pretty sure he comes back for one of the films.
Oh, okay.
Like when they do because there's like a 3-film trailer out there for this, and I think he's in that, and he wasn't just in the jail, so I'm pretty sure he comes back, and I knew he would come back.
Yeah, because I felt like he was so pointless like he served no purpose being there in the first movie. So I felt like, especially the way that they ended up when Josh tossed him that paperclip, or the paperclip. I felt like something was definitely coming from him in the next movie or two. So let's see. So yeah, then we kick off right in the beginning. Right in the true beginning of the film with Dina. And she is trying anyway. She's trying to write this note to Sam, who happens to be her ex-lover. And I am also very glad that there is kind of like a main relationship revolving around this film that is not your typical straight relationship. I think that's fantastic that they decided to have that part of the main circle of this film and not just be some side bullshit or some side character bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that it's like the main characters too that are, that's the situation, and
they let it develop too. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, you didn't know. I didn't personally know at first. I didn't think twice. I thought it was like every time she's seen like Dina always seen like somebody holding hands with this girl or whatever. I always thought when she's seen Sam with that guy, I always thought it was just the guy that she was looking at, and she was pissed that he was squeezing her ass and stuff like that. I didn't realize that Sam was the woman and the girl, and that, when they finally met up and talked, it's like, wow, this is great. I love that, because I wasn't expecting it. At
one point, Kate, when Dina goes up to Kate with that box, and she's like, I want you to give this to Sam. And I think that at some point in there, they use the her or she pronoun So then I knew that they were referring to Sam as being a woman. I think I caught that in there.
I watched it twice and I didn't catch that because I feel like Cameron brought that out. Like he said that to me the first time we watched it. He said something about it and I'm like, oh, really? I was like, okay. And then I was like, whoa, I guess you're right. Like, that's insane. I didn't expect that. And I'm so happy that they did that. I mean, you don't get that enough in movies. So, and it's a real thing. It's out there.
Yeah. Right. It's all over the place. And I just feel like it should be more naturally involved and just, you know what I mean? Like not being a big deal. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be revolved around it. It's just a part of it.
Exactly.
Makes it normal.
I don't understand. It should just be part of films more often because it's part of life. I mean, I'm gay. I'm married to, the love of my life, Cameron. So, I just, for all of us out there, it's good to have that, it's good to have that, representation in films, and the fact that it's placed in there and it's so seamlessly where it doesn't affect the story in any way. It's another love story in a horror film.
And it was nice because I don't think that I've seen any negative feedback in regards to that. But not also to say that I wonder if there would still be no negative feedback if it was 2 males opposed to 2 females.
True. I mean, we're not 100%. We're not 100% yet in this world.
I just wonder that. So yeah, I guess I just go into making the another note again. I don't remember what the music sounded like at this point in the movie, but the continuation of the music, even when it's not in moments that are intense or moments that are supposed to be dramatic and thrilling, like even just in kind of regular, more dull moments, quote unquote, in the movie, like the music still just carries you on through so nicely. It's just a nice breeze that just complements the movie throughout the whole movie. And then it slides in and you see they're playing Rob Zombie, I believe, at this point.
Is that Rob Zombie? I was wondering who that was. It sounded nice, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was sick. I remember buying that album that was on a long time ago at Walmart with Ben Asty's mom. I went to Walmart, yeah.
Jen.
And she's like, "Do you really need that?" I was like, "Hell yeah, it's Rob Zombie." I'm like, I'm probably like 11 or 12, I guess, somewhere around there. I was like, "Fuck yeah,
really need that.
I'm not with my mom, and I got my own money, and I'm buying this shit. It's gonna be heavy as hell." I was super stoked on that. But so yeah, we meet the brother, and he's like, it looks like he has his own little professional hidden jerk off station going on.
Dude, I thought he was jerking off. That's what my note was. I really thought he was jerking off, and I think that's what they were trying. Yeah,
I'm sure that was what the point was. But interesting music to get sensual with yourself too, but hey, no judgments passed. So he's sitting there and he's kind of doing like this kind of old school feel, kind of Messenger. It looked kind of like AOL-ish, kind of ICQ-ish. Like it didn't look like Messenger.
It was AOL.
Was it?
It was AOL. Yeah, that's what they talked about AOL.
Yeah, okay, because I wasn't totally... I'm not surprised though. Fulfilling the 90s theme, they were on AOL, having a nice conversation that he apparently has like these, conspiracy theories that he talks with, because I'm sure that that's not some shit at his age that people are going to be into. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would kind of make him more of an outcast if he was just starting to say all this crazy shit around kids his age. So he has somebody that he kind of confides and kind of has a conversations with about all these conspiracy theories, has this huge board, like he just has all these pins and needles and strings going across that looks so awesome. And he has this chat with the queen, and it kind of continues on like the opening credits, how they're kind of explaining the history of the town, and they're going over, talking about what just had happened at this mall, at Shadyside Mall. What just went down? Did you hear about it? What's going on? And they kind of put the pieces together, and like, oh, it kind of seems like it's coming from the same situations that have been happening from this year. And do you remember this thing that happened this year? And they just, they kind of go over the conspiracies, and then boom, kind of do this light scare. What didn't really scare me, I feel like they do these kind of light scares a lot. Like they repeat these kind of, and I think that they're fine. Like I think that it's nice to just kind of have these little moments that don't really scare you, so you kind of get used to those. And I feel like even though they do overplay that, it makes other moments more effective. But it was funny because it was a 90s, it was totally a 90s thing for Dina to call Josh a dillweed. Totally a 90s thing to call him a dillweed. I was laughing my ass off.
I've been called dillweed. My uncle called me dillweed before.
Was there anything that you like? Because obviously, I feel like they got super extra about their their room decorating and just going all out for 90s. Was there anything that your eye caught in the room that was just like something that you related to that was screaming 90s at all?
The Wendy's French fry container on top of the TV. I was like, oh, that's the old logo. That's the way that it used to look.
See, I figured like there were so many like little things. There's no way I would have caught all of them, but there's just like you just kind of hone in onto that one thing. But mine was that, like I was saying earlier, that Beastie Boys poster that was sitting up in the room.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, can we talk about the Queen for a minute? I think the Queen of Air and Darkness.
It was like Queen Scythe or
I don't know,
whatever
Queen
it was,
of Air and Darkness or something like that. Who is that? We don't know any information about this person.
No, I thought that it was Kate.
Really?
I did at first, just because of like the way, like, you know how he was walking through the hall and he was like kind of like nervous to see her. Like I thought that like they can talk normal on the internet, but when they see each other, like he gets super nervous and worked up. So that, and especially because when Kate goes up to Dina at the lockers, just moving on just a little bit further, we can pull back if you want. But at the lockers there, then, you know, she makes a mention of it too. And she's like, oh, not you too. And so I was thinking maybe like, you know, she's secretly talking to her brother and she might just be out of the loop and we'd find out later. But as far as we know, it doesn't seem like at all it could possibly be her for reasons that we will touch on later on in the spoiler section.
We have not talked, we don't know who the Queen of Darkness is. Queen of Air and Darkness, whatever. We don't know who that is. So I'm wondering if the other films might expand on that. So we go to the school. The school looks depressing as hell. You have to go through like the metal detectors. Apparently, like every kid there has a knife.
Oh my god!
And like it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like when the kid that like goes over and like runs over there and like scratches the, you know, whatever on top of the, you know, on top.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's that one like stereotypical emo dude that's just always sitting alone by himself outside, and he just always has his hood up and he's just always looking angry. So he just comes up with that random knife. And
but don't act like we don't know people like that though.
I mean, that's as ridiculous as it was. I was like, yep, this is totally high school. Shit like that happens. To keep on moving along, Simon is one funny motherfucker. He sometimes I think that his face when he's acting is like, it almost looks like he's just childishly like trying not to laugh on set so that he doesn't break the scene all the time. Like that's just kind of what his face looks like most of the time. But I think that the way that he presented his lines all the time was really good. So I always forgave him for how his face looked, for how he presented his lines and how he presented himself.
Yeah, his character was fun. Him and Katie are pretty like they're like best friends, I guess. Yeah, they're friends.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if they were brother and sister.
I think they're just I think they're. I feel like they're friends. They don't have last names on IMDb, so I think they're just friends. And I feel like if they were brothers and sisters, like when shit was happening, they would have been a little bit more like, "Oh my god, like I'm gonna make sure you're safe."
Okay.
So I think they were always just friends, and they just like had that mutual agreement of just we're friends, and that's what we're gonna be. Which we'll get to the whole jerk off scene thing. Like, is he like asexual, or is like, what is this?
I think that it was just he was the fifth wheel, and just to fit in with the scene, and him being a fucking goofball, you know what I mean? He's just like,
okay, it's just like a funny comment. Okay,
yeah, he seemed like the kind of guy that would, honestly. He was just looking at himself. He's like, you know what? I got the time. I'm feeling myself, and that's what he did.
Well, Katie and Simon have this like drug thing that they have going on. So, I mean, that kind of sucks, but
I mean, well, there's a couple things in this film that I'm just going to get out of the way now and say that I feel like I would like to hear maybe what the director has to say more about how they chose to portray Shady Side and Sunny Side. But I was seeing a lot of like the undertones of systemic racism. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like Sunnyside is just this big old fucking white privilege piece of shit town that is generating all of the money, and all of the money that's getting given to and distributed is going to them and not going to Shadyside. And, you know, I've noticed, I paid attention, like, Shadyside was a lot more diverse. There was a lot more people of color. And for Sunnyside, like, I think that out of all of the scenes whenever they were like showing Sunnyside and Shadyside together, I think that I saw one person of color and everybody else was white. And it was just very, like, I feel like they were purposely trying to show, like, not really, you know, not like screaming it to the mountains, but having it a part of it and making it very obvious that I made that connection there with all of that.
I mean, it's just a very, very good possibility, especially with how like progressive this film was trying to be with different situations. And that's what I liked about it. It wasn't like, it was progressive in a way that it wasn't like, I'm going to throw this down your throat. It was progressive in, you see it.
Like, we're just going to show you shit and hopefully you'll notice it.
No, exactly. And it was really well done. And I hope that people do notice it and don't feel like, I don't know.
Right.
Like
because it shows like there's perfectly good people that are coming from a place that just is an unfortunate. That's why they're, you know what I mean? Like, she literally said she's trying to sell these drugs just long enough to be able to get the money and get the fuck out of there. Because they know that nothing good happens in that town. Nobody good. You just stay there and you live a miserable life pretty much until you perish. Well, why wouldn't you do just about anything to get out of that situation? You know, it's so fucked up to the point that, you know, they say, since this is along the lines of where we're at anyway, he says about how his brother overdosed, but he didn't die, so it's not a real overdose, they say. And I'm just like, God damn. Like, you know, obviously it's kind of light because of how they're talking about it. You know, they kind of make it seem like it's not so bad, but when you think about it, you're like, God damn it. Like, that was his little brother that OD'd because they were fucking around with these pills and shit like that. Like, I don't know about Kate, but he was like, Simon was obviously a drug user. Like, that was very, very obvious that he was a drug user. You could just tell from the way that he was and acted.
Yeah. I mean, he worked at like the store and stuff. Like, he seemed like, the thing is, like, Simon, he was very smart. Like, he definitely knew his medications and stuff like that. So he was going to go places. I feel like he would have be a pharmacist or something. Like, he was smart.
Yeah, they were definitely the life of the party.
Oh yeah. They're like the comedic relief, and like, honestly, really, this, like I said, again, the smart ones. Like, they're the ones who are kind of like this, and this. Kate and Simon were kind of like, well, this is why this, and I mean, also Josh as well, because he knew the history. It's really Dina who was just kind of going with the flow, with, you know, like, one thing in mind, and then Sam as well, who was just kind of like, Sam even see, I guess Dina was the one without like giving anything, really, if you think about it, you know, because Josh had the knowledge of the history. Kate had the, I don't give a shit, this is what's happening, so I'm willing to be like, this person needs to go or whatever. And then Simon was like the one who knew about the drugs and all this other stuff.
Well, Dina was kind of like the front man, you know what I mean? Like, she was really brave. I feel like, and that was one thing that I wanted to, like, yes, that's what I was saying. Like, she just seemed like if you were creating a team on World of Warcraft, like, she would be the paladin. Like, she would be the one that had like a good mix between like defense and strength, but like also had the ability to be kind of like the centerpiece that kind of keeps everything together for the most part. She just seemed very grounded, very honest. You know, she wasn't afraid of her emotions, and she was just brave. You know what I mean? Anytime that anything came up, she always picked fight over flight.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, this group together, loved it. I loved these characters. I loved all of them. I thought they were fun.
Another thing that was like, oh, that's totally high school, was when that kid was just running through the hall, dragging that fake body through the hallway. I was like, yes, that shit happens. That shit really happens. Yes.
That doesn't happen in our school. What do you mean?
Oh my God. Like, people just doing dumb shit like that. Like, you just go out in the hallway and there's just someone who said fuck it and just decided to be obnoxious and do something goofy. That shit happens all the time.
Those resuscitative Annies are not cheap.
No, not at all. Mr. Gobbler would be pissed.
Yes, he would be so pissed. And two, they had a knife in that resuscitative Annie running around with the noose thing hanging around her neck. And that is also a very what do you want to call it? It was a Scream thing. They did that in Scream with Sydney in the hall, but it was a Scream character running in the hall. Ghostface. Like one of the kids was dressed up as Ghostface running through the hall, running by Sydney, and she's like, "Why are they doing this?" And then Stu laughs about it, whatever, and says that it's like Christmas, and it's kind of the same situation where they're like laughing about this resuscitated Annie being pulled, and but Dina is kind of like, "No, I'm not having it." So it's very reminiscent of Scream. And that was like one of those ones that like really connected.
Yeah, it's like, this is obvious. If you've seen these movies, you definitely should be making these connections.
So with you being a beautiful person, this connection to you, this reminds me of you. So Dina didn't want to do like her band stuff with you being banned. She didn't want to do the band stuff, but now with the kid, what's her name? Is it Heather? Heather, she died, and the school and everything, when they were going to go to Sunnyside and they wanted to pay respects to her, and everyone who was on the teams and stuff had to be there regardless. And even though Dina wanted to be done, she now has to go, and she's on there. She's very like, ugh, whatever, I'm here, but whatever.
Why did she want to be done? Why did she not want to be in band anymore?
Because she doesn't want to see Sam anymore. Because Sam's in Sunnyside.
So Sunnyside, yeah. So Sam moves to Sunnyside. So Dina says, no way, I'm not doing this shit because, I'm going to have to see her all the time. Because they have that connection where, right. So that sucks. That totally sucks. But surprisingly enough, gathers the strength to decide to put on the uniform and go to this vigil for Heather.
At this point, Shadyside doesn't care about Heather that much. They're just thinking, oh, it's just like a normal, happens every week in Shadyside that somebody dies.
Oh, did you notice on the sign when they were riding on the bus that it said Shitty Side?
It said Shitty Side. Yeah. You want to know something else I noticed on the bus when they were driving?
Yeah.
Dina, when she gets on that bus, she takes her drumsticks. She starts beating on the back of that seat. And I'm like, this is motherfucking Joe right here. This is some shit that he did. And I would hate to have been that guy in front because I would have been so pissed. I'm like, nuh-uh, you're not doing that shit on my seat.
The whole ride, baby.
Fuck off. Go somewhere else.
The whole ride. But you know what? One thing that I did notice, since I have had experience with that, no way in hell would the band ever be on the same bus as the football team. The football team always gets their fucking ass wiped for them, and they get to go on the coach buses, and the band gets to go on the shitty regular school buses that are rented and rusted and falling apart.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. That is so fucking stupid. That's so lame. That's so shitty.
So that was just one thing that I was like, that's not realistic, I feel like. Unless, well, then again, you know what? I take that back only because Shadyside being Shadyside and not being financially stable, I guess it would actually make sense that they're all on the same bus because that's just what they can afford.
Exactly.
That's all they can afford. So I guess that's just showing also a kind of privileged situation that my school system was in, opposed to other school systems.
So with the other time, while they're at this, they're all lighting candles at this event before the game, and Shadyside's on one side and Southside's on the other, and Shadyside starts talking shit about like, why do this? I say just burn it down, and then Southside's like, what do you go ahead, say that again, what's going on? They fight.
Yeah, Peter's a fucking jerk, dude. I hate that guy. That's definitely the douche of the movie. Peter is definitely the douche of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, he gets his comeuppance. Yeah, he is. That's the douche I was talking about.
God, and I think that's just going to be like, we need to have, at some point, after we get through season 1, we have to have the wall of douches. All of the characters that we thought were douches throughout all the movies. That's for sure. Because it just seems like a reoccurring thing where I feel the need, and you feel the need to point out the douche as.
A douche. There's always a douche. There's always a douche.
Always. And they're like more douchey than I want them to be all the time. Super douche. Like, if I ever met that guy, if I never meet a person in public like that usually.
That's what I was just going to say. You don't ever see that. Hold me back, motherfucker. Hold me back.
I always miss those people. Like, I never get the chance to put in my 2 cents. I always get to hear about it, but I never see it happen.
Oh, you don't want to. I hate those people.
No, I do.
Those people are now like Karens and Kyles. So Dina and Sam are talking at this point while the fight starts breaking out, and then Kate gets like elbowed in the face. And when she gets elbowed in the face, they like did this like hard cut into the bus scene. Like right before, like right as she got hit, it was just like right, like they.
Oh yeah, she said because it cuts her in between. She says incest, gets hit in the face, pieces of shit on the bus.
Yeah, they did stuff like that a couple of times with like the weird cuts in certain situations, but I love their transitions. It like progress the story a little bit faster because who needs to see the rest? Like we got the idea they're fighting, now they're on the bus, and then this next event happens. Perfect. It was perfect in my opinion.
Wasn't it funny as hell when Simon just came out of nowhere with that pole or whatever it was and just started whacking the shit out of Peter?
Yeah, it hits him. Yeah, and he just looks at him like, what?
Woo!
Yeah, he got the witch face on and everything. I thought he was funny too when Dina got on the bus at first and he was all dressed up in that costume and stuff. I love that they're the shady side are devils, like their mascot's devils, and South Side is witches. So that was pretty cool. Like give me. I'll go to South Side. I want a witch to be my mascot. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
that's
right?
pretty cool.
I know. I would like that's something that I would have got more into repping my team. And like, when you're an alumni, you're like, go witches or like go devils. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That'd be so cool. Oh.
Yeah. I'm peanut butter and jealous, but we're the Dutch oven. So here they come. Of course, they like couldn't just leave it alone. Being the douchey, fratty douches that they are, they just couldn't let things go. Doubled down, left the vigil, and they are barreling behind the bus, Peter and gang with Sam, wearing masks, except for Sam. Sam, why was Sam not wearing a mask? Why was she the only one in the car that was like, I'm going to be in this situation, but I want people to know who I am?
Why was she there in the first place, though? I'm like thinking in my head, well, why are you even there? Like, why would you even let your boyfriend do that?
I mean, I guess that could be realistic if he was, just being aggressive and being like, you're fucking coming. I guess maybe that was what the situation was.
He would be that kind of person too, though.
For sure, which is why, of course, got to let that slide. Can't let my speculation. It's going to be excused from the jury.
Well, my question is, Dina is she's laying on her back on the the back seat, looking out. She looks at the window. You can see the car coming up, which was a really cool shot. I love that. But why, when she looks out, why does her nose bleed? What's with this nosebleed thing?
I was wondering why they didn't have Ryan, like you could see Ryan's nosebleed at all. Like back in the first opening scene. I was wondering, because that's a connection that I made, was because they were around where
Exactly.
Sarah's grave was, she was able to somehow take place real quick into Dina and be able to force her or push her decision of dumping that thing of water or Gatorade or whatever the fuck it was, that giant cooler thing, out of the back door. Like I was assuming that it was the spirit or the witch or whatever that's where the nosebleed came from, and she kind of possessed her real quick to kind of force her to do the thing she was thinking about doing. And I understood that because that's kind of the site that they were around, so I could maybe see her having enough strength to be able to do something like that. But that's where I'm still confused about like how she got through to Ryan at the mall, or how, you know what I mean, or how she gets in to another situation later that I did not quite understand.
Well, I still don't. I mean, no one else got nosebleeds. I guess because she was in that situation where she was going to have the control of throwing that, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, just because of the Sam nosebleeds being related to the thing, that's the only reason why I could have made that connection at all, was because the nosebleeds only happened when Sam was having some sort of interaction with Sarah the witch.
Okay. Well, maybe they'll expand on it. I don't know. I feel like I need to know more between the fly and the nosebleed, and like.
I feel like there's just some subtle things that, you know what I mean, like. All the answers are there. We might have just missed them.
I watched it twice. I feel like I should know by now, but okay. Well, we'll see.
We missed a lot of shit, though. Yeah, we'll see.
Dina then, I guess, throws that cooler out onto their car, onto Sam's car with Peter and Sam and stuff, and then they wreck.
Yeah, what the hell is this bus driver doing the whole time? Like, that alarm was going off the whole time, and they didn't have anyone, like, they didn't show the bus driver, didn't even hear a bus driver yelling or anything.
A lot of my bus drivers would have been like, get down, sit down. You can't even stand up, sit down. And now we have
With that big ass mirror where they're just creeping on you, looking up all the time. You can see their little glaring side eyes.
Yeah, you're getting all nervous because you see, like, everyone else doesn't care. Yeah, everyone else does not care what's going on, but you're like that one, and you're like, you kind of want to have fun, but you're like looking up at that like mirror, and you're like, they're looking, but you don't want to be bad, but you're like, I want to have fun. You're like, should I start? Like, are they gonna say something? Can I still like have fun with these other people? Yeah. Nothing. This bus driver did not exist, and everything was going on wrong in this bus at the same time. They're like, yelling and shit, and open this door, and the alarm's going off.
Simon puts his ass on the window.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Classic. That's a 90s thing for sure.
So then they wreck, and then Sam gets out of her car. She crawls on the ground, and she touches the bones of the witch. And she gets these visions, and this is why Sam gets chased by this witch or by these killers, because of her blood. Now the witch wants her.
Yep. All she had to do was just touch her remains, and all of a sudden she's cursed to die by the witch's hands no matter what. Like immediately just starts her pursuit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like the next thing. Like everything keeps happening. And what I don't get is when Sam spits blood all over Simon. Like, what was the point of that? Like, she just, like, leans over. She's like, "Pwah!" Like, could you not have just, like, spit on another direction? Like, couldn't you just spit on the... Like, you're in the woods. You could have spit anywhere. Why are you spitting on him?
Yeah, that was definitely just some piss poor excuse to make sure that they get the blood on his shirt to be able to use for a reason as to why he gets attacked later.
Yeah, exactly. The blood everywhere.
I feel like they could have made it a little more fluid, you know, as to no pun intended.
But speaking of the blood, and then like that's the reason why this witch chases any of them other than Sam.
Dina.
No, Sam.
Oh no, because Dina's got on her shoe.
Well,
Yeah.
Dina has on her shoe and everything, but like other than, which we'll get into this in a second. So Dina's at home with Josh, and the doorbell's ringing, and then they see the skeleton killer guy out there. And on the other end, the other side of the house, we have Kate and Simon, and Kate is babysitting these kids, and she's having these two young girls separate her jugs for her. Like, come on, seriously.
She's like, here's a fun thing to keep you occupied. Just don't eat them because they'll stop your little hearts.
Yeah, that's dark.
I was like, damn, that yeah, it's like understandably dark as fuck.
I don't get it. I have no idea, but whatever. So she wants to do that while she talks to Simon about his bloody shirt, which for some reason he keeps putting back on. Why in the fuck does he keep putting the shirt on?
Yeah, he's so gross. That reminded me of me. Like, it reminded me of me when I was younger, of like how much I did not give a shit. Like, I would just wear, like, sometimes I would just wear something that was dirty or gross just because I didn't give a shit and I didn't feel like finding other clothes or doing my laundry or some shit like
but
that.
so nasty. It's blood, and it's blood from somebody else.
He said that, well, I had to work a double. So he worked a double at work with that nasty ass t-shirt on underneath. But speaking of Simon, just before we get any further, because then it won't matter anymore, I am not surprised, but also was surprised and laughed my ass off when Simon just looked at the cop after the whole car crash happened and was just like, suck it, pig. Like, I was just like, damn, dude. Moving on from that moment, the last thing that I had to say again was just how much of a piece of trash Peter is. Like the way that he grabs Dina and like looks like he's hugging her, but then like squeezes her extra hard and hurts her a little bit and just says, I'm gonna kill you. Like he was just so mad that he had to hold. He was like, I'm gonna really say this. I'm saying it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna kill you guys.
And then the cop's just looking like, all right.
Oh, this looks normal.
Yeah, like just
nothing
whatever.
to see here. I thought that the shot that they did where it was like night to day, back to night, as they just went from the road and panned over to the house.
The house? Oh, so well done.
Because it went from night to day to night. And you know what I mean? Usually it goes one way or the other, but they actually followed all the way through like complete 24 hours. So I thought that was a really cool shot there too. Like to the point where they, to the porch light turning on.
Yeah, the time lapse. That was really nice.
And then at this point, Dina hears on the TV Ryan being the killer. Like they identified Ryan as being the killer. So that was kind of a big moment because later on, she has kind of what gets accepted as a hallucination. Turns out that it was actually real. And that's when Dina also calls Ms. Fraser, if that's what her name is now, Sam's mom, just to kind of check on Sam and see how she's doing. And it's very obvious that Sam's mom is not about Dina at all, or not about her having, any sort of connection. Because I'm sure by the way that it sounded like, obviously, the mom knew that they had some sort of relationship, but she just thought that whatever she was doing was like corrupting her daughter or you know what I mean, trying to make her into something that she was not. Something that is kind of like the trope, the typical trope coming from, someone who's kind of realizing, their identity like that to their parents. I continued to say, because, they showed Josh and, Josh just being cool as hell. And then, yeah, they, she's yelling for Josh to get the door. And I don't believe anybody was there, right? Nobody was there. She checks the front door. Nobody was there. And then she kind of peeks out the window and she can see really far away, like down across the street and down a little road a little bit. There's the skeleton guy standing there. And she's like, ooh, screw you, Peter. I know it's you screwing with me. But the way that he was like so back. Yeah, he was like back far enough away that I was like, ooh, that actually is creeping me out. Like, dude was just ringing the doorbell, hurried up, sprinted super far away, and then just stood there and waited. Just far enough to still be able to be seen under a streetlight. The only thing I didn't like how he chose to run away, because he kind of scooped to the side first and then went. I just wanted him to just go. Just go. Just turn and go. But instead of kind of like scoop back, got a little bit, gave him a little bit of motion to follow through with.
Because she said, you got the full costume now.
It's a little corny, yeah.
Like the Road Runner. Zboing.
That's when we transition over to Kate's house.
So we're at the point now where Dina calls Kate, where she's babysitting, about, possibly it's Pete who is trying to, trick them or whatever and fuck with them with the knife and all that other stuff. And she's like, hold on. And she's like, I gotta, hang up. She hangs up. Well, the door is open. They hear like noise in the living room. And then they, like, Simon and Kate go out there, and all his clothes and stuff are flying everywhere. The door's open. At this point, I would have already, like, had a weapon at least. If not already left the house, but at least had a weapon. And then they peek around the corner, and there's a skeleton guy, creepy as hell. And then they make a noise or whatever, and he looks at him. Would have scared the shit out of me. And Simon pulls her back right away. Like, you got to keep your eyes on that son of a bitch.
And he's gone.
Like, he's going to come after you. Like, I would have thought he was, like, going to run after him, I thought when they turned the corner again that he would have been there, but he wasn't. He was just gone.
Yeah, I thought it was stupid, though, when Simon was like, should we be doing this? Like, they were already more than halfway through the hallway, and he was loud as hell. That was dumb.
Right? Like, should we be doing this? Now they want to go to the hospital. They want to go to the hospital because they want to go see Sam. After they, like, all this, like, possible Pete thing going on with, like, the skull guy stalking them, they think that it's him.
I didn't think it was Pete the whole time. Did you? Did you ever think that it might have been Pete?
No, absolutely not. I knew it was not. And I think they meant for it to not feel like it was him. I think that they were setting it up so we knew it wasn't, but the characters did not. So we were like that third party that we're like, nope, we know it's not him.
Kate decides to be the good babysitter, I guess, and hands over the kids to the neighbors. The neighbor lady, which seems that she was a nurse or something like that, sees Simon's shirt with the blood on it. He, like, awkwardly zippers up his shirt. And she's like, are you sure that everything's all right? And I don't know why. She just was like, okay, everything must be fine. It's fine. It didn't look like blood or anything. And then when they get over to the house and stuff like that, Kate actually asks Josh if he's going to join, which I thought was kind of nice because I was starting to feel like I was starting to maybe see something developing here. Like, he had interest in her, and it might actually turn out that she might be a little interested in him as well. So they get to this fucking hospital, dude, and here it is. The good old typical receptionist that doesn't give a goddamn shit about you. Just filing her nails, just like, I already know everything. You're an annoying person. Do this, that, and this. And And then here comes good old Betty. Oh my God, dude. I was like, yes, this was so perfect. He kind of had like the little bit of, the stereotypical, super hooked on drugs, still trying to go about their job, seems kind of tweaky, is pretty much willing to like help out, anybody who's like, that's his dealer was Kate. So that it was cool meeting that person because it just seemed kind of unique and was like, okay, fuck. Dina gets right down to business, is like, let's go find Sam. Dina pretty much cuts right to the point. They're like, I'm not doing this bullshit. Like, let's get right to the point. I need to go see somebody. And so she's going in to see Sam to tear Sam a new asshole and say, tell Peter to frig off.
So Peter ends up showing up when Dina and Sam are talking. And Dina's like, you need to go fuck off and quit doing this shit to us. And all of a sudden, he gets stabbed in the back, and it like the knife goes through his chest. Like you can see it through the front, right? Yeah, he starts bleeding. But this is where my question comes in now. So we have some extreme bloodshed going on in this hospital. Why are all these people dying if none of them have Sam's blood on them?
Yeah, I guess that might be a little bit of a hole that you found there.
A little. That's a big hole. The only thing I can think of is that they're in the way, but at the same time, you could almost say that the kids being in the hall is them being in the way.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, maybe if they actually have like a physical touch to them, like if they happen to like be like, hey, you can't come in here, like they try to touch, but they don't show the receptionist, touching them. Betty didn't touch them at all. And neither did Peter. He came right up behind Peter and fucking shanked his ass.
Yeah, exactly. Peter's just standing there. So I don't get that. That's one thing that kind of irritates me with the continuity of this.
Yeah, I guess they didn't follow through with that very well. They did not follow through with that part very well. I didn't notice that. Thank you for pointing that out.
So I guess Peter dies. It's not Peter.
Bye, Peter. Douche.
It is not Peter, but you know who it is. It's actually Ryan. His dead, pretty much ghost. His dead corpse, as Dina looks at him and sees that his headshot, everything like that. And he chases them through the hospital, and we go past Kate and Simon and Josh, and they all say, Dina says, run, 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 run. And they go past him real quick, and they're like, I didn't know they were back together. And pretty soon that killer runs past Kate, and she's just like, that freaked me out. I was like, oh my God, that would have been so scary. Dina and Sam go to the front of the hospital because I'm sure that they're going to try to run out the front door. And they hide behind the front desk and they notice blood and they look over and they see the receptionist dead. Fucking throat is slashed, blood everywhere. But then Betty comes out and they're like, shh, shh. And then he goes over to talk to the skeleton guy and boom, stabs him in the throat. Throat like up. Yeah, like almost like jaw, like chin, throat area. Kind of like the Horrible 4 we did. But yeah. Oh, and stabs him right in the throat. And then he bleeds out, dies.
And lands perfectly so that Ryan can look over at them. Such a good shot.
Yes. Oh, he tilts his head, looks right at him, and they scream, they run. And that's the thing. This is where he comes in, where he's like, Ryan is so fast. And he like runs and it like freaks me out. Like, run, 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 go, 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 go. Like it's freaking me out at this point. And so again, Kate and Josh and Simon all get that ambulance, and they all jump in the ambulance, and now they go towards the police station.
Stuck with another lazy person working at a desk that doesn't give a shit about their job, working in Shadyside. This gross cop that's like stuffing his face and being, you know what I mean, just talking to them like shit. And then here comes, what does he call himself? He calls himself Sheriff Good guy sheriff, or he refers to himself as something like that. I have it written down somewhere. Oh yeah, Sheriff Good. He shows up and then he doesn't take them seriously, and they're like, we fucking knew it. And then all of a sudden, boom, call in from the hospital saying some shit's going on. So he's like, okay, maybe something is up. I'll go check it out. And he's like, you guys just take care of him. So Dina notices, this guy's got a gun and we could probably use it. And the only way that she could think to do it is to just kind of get all riled up and think that this asshole is going to think because she's a woman that she just can't control her emotions, and he tells her to go calm down and tell her boyfriends that she needs to relax or some stupid shit.
Oh, that was so
stupid.
freaking annoying.
She tricks him, distracts him, takes the gun, gets out to the ambulance. And honestly, at this point, with all the crazy shit she's seen, I don't blame her for doing anything that she needs to do because their lives are on the line and there's some crazy shit going on. So, fuck everybody else.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Steal what you need to steal. Take care of what you need to take care of. And, clean up after your mess later.
I agree. While this is going on, Simon's outside pissing, and the cop car comes by the alley. Scared me by the way. It scared me. But if I was Simon and I was pissing on the side of the building like that, and that cop just like showed up, like drove right by like that with the sirens, I would have been pissing on my asshole too. Like it would have scared me so bad.
Oh my God. He pulled up his pants so fast, I was expecting to see piss all over his pants or something. That's what it looked like. He wasn't done. He pulled that shit up so fast.
And then we get that scary girl singing.
Ooh, yeah. I kept laughing so much because it made Simon sound so dumb. Where he's just like, she was just so hot, but then she's fucking crazy, but she's hot, but she's fucking crazy.
But that's not the part we're talking about. The road part where he's just by himself.
Yeah, no, I know, but I think that it's funny. Like he just sounds so dumb, like the way that he like always refers to her.
Yeah, the way it's hot.
Like even,
but she's so scary.
Even later, he's like,
yeah.
oh, she's still sexy, but try to fucking kill me.
And he feels this way even after he had his nice, his personal jerk session. And he still feels that way.
Yep. So you knew it was real.
I would not go up to her. You know what I mean? Like if I was him, I would not.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, that was such the nice guy in him too, because he really was a nice guy.
Yeah, he was.
He goes right up. He's like, oh my God, like, hey, you okay? Do you need anything? And she just fucking looks up and I'm like, oof. You just see all the scars and she's like smiling all creepy. And she gets up and nothing freaks me out more than like someone who's just hacking and slashing a knife at you, dude. Like just to like slowly just slash and peel away at your skin and shit. Like, you know what I mean? It just even little bits at a time.
You should watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what they do at the end.
Gross.
Somebody's back.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought he was going to die here. I really did. I thought this is the end. The way the music was playing, I'm like, that's usually like...
That music was funny as hell. That music was like perfect. I don't know.
The music in this was great.
It's making it comical that Simon is literally fighting for his life right now by this crazy girl that he was so nice to just go up to on the street and be like, hey, you need something? And just fucking coming at him.
Slices his neck and... Yeah. But, so he's getting attacked and... Then Dina with the gun comes up and shoots her from the back, and her eyeball comes out. Shoots her, I think, like 3 times. But then Simon gets up and like runs towards them, and then this ghost killer slasher girl, she's still alive. She gets up and everything like heals. And well, first off, she has her necklace thing that falls off of her, which we'll get back to later. But that falls off in the middle of shooting and everything. But she gets up and she starts healing. And they're all like, run. But for some reason, Dina throws the gun down on the ground. She's only got like 3 or 4 shots out. And...
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It's like, why would
she did abandon the gun right away pretty much.
Yeah, like, come on. You didn't even give it a chance. Like, you still have some bullets. You have at least 2 more. Or she was just like, apparently this doesn't help, so why hold on to it? But that stupid cop, it's not, when he looks at, because eventually he goes back and he sees the necklace, but he never sees the gun. The gun's not on the ground. So some random shady side guy or girl or whoever was just like, hey, this looks like I'll take this gun. Someone took that gun.
Sucks for them. It turns out that it's a cop gun, so if they ever get caught with it, they're double fucked. They go back to Dina's house, and everybody's just totally freaking out because they're like, whoa. Like, not only is this thing here that's trying to kill us, but it apparently has the ability to not be damaged at all by gunshots and is just so far beyond what we could have ever imagined experiencing in our lives. And at that moment, then, good old Josh and his conspiracy theories turn out to maybe not be so conspiracy after all.
Exactly.
And he puts together that it turns out that the woman that Simon encountered must have been Ruby. Ruby, one of the many victims of the witch from the past. Then he goes through and kind of explains all the killers from the past. One thing that I will say, I love that they did a couple shots where they kind of, nobody that you really got to see it all through the rest of the film, but they still went out of their way to kind of film an example of what a few of the extra killers were. And one that I thought that I loved a lot was Harry Rooker, who was that milkman, who for that shot that they had that guy on the ground and he just looked, you didn't really get to see all of them, but he looked super sketchy. That one,
Wait, I don't know if I know him. What did he look like?
He was a milkman. He was outside. He was like holding somebody on the ground. You couldn't really see his face, but he just looked kind of distorted, and it just looked really fucking creepy. And I don't know if it was the music that intensified it for me, but I think that one looked the second creepiest. And then this is why I said 1960 or 1666 will be the best, because the way that they portrayed and described and had the music for the pastor when the pastor came on just like made my gut just turn in circles over and over again. Something was like, if I get to see anything that has to do with this fucker, I am losing sleep for the next week at least.
See, I think Billy Barker, that little kid that was like hitting the person on the head with the bat,
and then
he was creepy.
And that was the other one. That was creepy as hell too.
He looked creepy to me.
Yeah, I definitely, both of those for sure.
I have a feeling we're going to see more of all of those people.
I sure as hell hope so, my dude.
Yeah.
So then here's Sam again, spitting up more blood.
Why is she splitting up blood? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't know. But she is. She's spitting up more blood, no real explanation. Apparently she's just always, for all of time, going to be leaking blood for no reason because of her curse. Anybody who's involved with the witch is just, everything is blood now. Your tears are blood, your spit is blood, your urine is blood.
Okay.
And Dina checks on her, and they kind of have this bonding moment, which almost feels like it's not authentic just because everything just had like happened, and apparently like Sam actually didn't give a fuck about Peter because nobody mentions that he just died in front of them, or they just completely decide to not acknowledge Peter ever again throughout the rest of the film, which is fine. But I guess I just would have thought that they wouldn't have made this connection so quick there at that moment. Like it would have taken a little longer to make more, like at the point later when they do start to have more of an intimate connection. But so that's pretty much where they get to next, and they're just like, wow, I can't believe that this is the situation. They're kind of accepting their reality and talking amongst each other like, wow, this shit's really happening, I guess, huh?
And this was pretty much where we get a breakdown of what's really happening, and we're like an understanding of what's happening in this film.
That's why, yeah. My note for that is, and I'm just the only thing I'm going to say is just solid backstory for sure.
Yeah,
nice, solid, tight backstory. Like whoever came up with that, I think that's nice and smooth. Real Loctite.
Yeah, and I think that's where we get that connection between the 1978 movie. I feel like that's where we get some of that backstory, as well as the 1666 story.
Yeah.
Which is clever that they picked 1666 as in like 666 devil.
That's when Sam admits to Dina that she actually had visions and she saw the witch, which leads them to go into the woods.
And let's just say, did you notice how they parked that ambulance when they went to go to the woods on the road? They parked that ambulance like complete assholes.
It was just like right in the middle of the road, pretty much, right?
Yeah, like they sideways, like it was sideways across both lanes. Like no one's going anywhere. But my question to you is why did the ambulance lights shut off? Because that did nothing. I thought that was going to make it so they couldn't start the ambulance. It's just like, it wasn't a thing. Like the ambulance.
No, it just had to do with like the paranormal energy making the lights on the ambulance turn off.
I know.
Because remember Ryan like scurries right in front of the camera, like literally right in front of the camera, real fast. Right when you didn't see that? Oh my fucking god!
Wait. When they go into the woods?
Yeah, when they're all walking into the woods.
Shut the hell up! What?
You watched this twice and you didn't see this shit. Okay, so when they leave the ambulance, everybody gets out.
I must have been writing down that note about the ambulance vehicle.
Yeah, you must have. Yeah, because they started slowly walking into the woods, and the second that pretty much everybody gets into the woods, right across the camera real quick goes goes Ryan, and that's when the lights shut out, and that's when that sting right there, and that that's what made it so dramatic. Was like, ooh, that ba-na-na-na, and the lights go out, and the fucker goes by real quick and scares the shit out of you.
Wow, I can't believe I'm gonna have to watch that part again.
That was good. I'm sad you missed that. That was so effective.
Apparently twice I missed that because I watched this movie twice. So they go down into the location where the car wrecked, and I will tell you a continuity thing that I noticed was the last time we seen their red car. The mask, it was like on the passenger side of the car, the camera's facing that, and then the mask was facing us if we were looking at the passenger side. But coming back into the woods now, we're looking more towards the back of the car, the trunk, and now the mask is now facing us that way. So that's just a little continuity that I noticed in the film itself, where the mask changed where it was located, the way it was facing, just to look better in the camera.
Do you think that like having the police, obviously like kind of examining the scene and doing all that shit would have had anything to do with that?
No, they would have taken it.
Or do you think?
Because the last time we seen it, nobody was there anymore.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, they wouldn't have left anything there. So, yeah, that's a good eye.
But it doesn't matter. It was there. It didn't do anything. I just noticed it. But
it matters. It matters. Continuity matters. Damn it.
Continuity does matter, but with little things like that, it's I'll forget it.
The chains and the bones.
After they talked about what happened, Sam was like explaining like, this is where I was, and this is when I seen the witch, and she like reached down into the earth and she pulled out a chain and she kept on pulling, and then a skull came out, and it's the witch.
Gross.
The witch's skull. And so they want to put this witch back to to be in resting. They want like they do in the movies.
I can't remember if it was Dina or Kate, but one of them said that it was just such a ridiculous idea. And then Josh was like, "It's so crazy, it might just work. It's genius." So they waste all this time. And the funniest thing that I thought was when like they're all done and they get it all piled together, and Simon goes up and he just quickly like pats it together and he just whispers, "We're sorry."
I know. But my question, why did they wrap it up in the Sunnyvale jacket?
I don't know. Just to keep it all together, make sure that nothing comes out or something.
Dug a hole and...
Or they were like trying to be respectful to her remains. You know what I mean?
It's like, oh, let's make you warm.
But Simon was freaking out. Like when they were like, "Ooh, she's mad because we disturbed her grave." And he's like, "Oh, that's bad. That's so bad."
He's like, "Oh shit, no, that's bad. That's real bad." Yeah.
Yes. I was like, "Oh God, I didn't expect this to scare him so bad."
That's what I was thinking too. I was on the same page with that one.
The only critique that I have, actually, that I forgot in regards to lighting, this was the second one. I said the first one was the only one, but this is the second one. I thought that the woods were too lit up when they were in the woods.
Oh, were they? Okay.
I think that there should have been more natural darkness in the woods. Like you could just see everything, and I didn't like that. You could almost tell that they had a giant set of lights kind of over top of the woods.
The only thing I will forgive that for is the fact that they did show the moon. Possibly before that, there was a point where they did show a shot of the moon, and it was full. It was a full moon. It was pretty bright. That's the only way I'll forgive that.
It just seemed like the woods were a little too thick, though. It felt like the woods were a little bit too thick to have that much moonlight coming through.
I also feel like the whole shot of them in the woods where the car was, that was probably a set. I don't think that was a set.
Yeah, it felt like that's what it felt like to me.
Some of the woods were definitely real, but I feel like that part was a set.
Yeah, so we're back to Sam's nose bleeding again.
Yeah, she grabs onto the bones to figure out if maybe find out more information. So
it's you.
What did you say?
That's what the witch keeps saying to her. It's you. It's you.
She says it's you?
Yeah. That's why Sam realizes that. That's why Sam realizes that it must be her, because literally Sarah's like,
yes,
it's you.
It's you. Okay, I remember that now. So it's you. Yeah. She grabs the bone and she with her nosebleed blood and gets some more stuff that learns more stuff about the witch or whatever. We see more clips. They try to bury, they go to bury the bones in the jacket and everything, but they hear stuff in the woods. And then pretty soon this is where we're introduced to the 1978 sack face axe killer guy, and he's creepy.
He like comes barreling at them fast as fuck. So we got 2 fast guys now. And what's scarier than one fast killer? It's 2 fast guys with 2 different weapons, 2 different weapon styles. So they jump right into the ambulance. They zip on off. I definitely felt like when that killer was standing on the road that it was definitely like Jason vibes for sure. Like that's when I was like, okay, if this is what part 2 is about, it's definitely going to feel pretty Jason-y.
I agree. Yeah, let's do it. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah. So Sam admits that they're coming for her. Like they don't want anybody else. They're not doing anything. Sam is very honest with them. I think that plays a pretty good part in the reason why most of them survive as long as they do is because Sam isn't holding anything back from them. Like if she experiences something, she kind of shares that with them. And they notice that, of course, Simon's still wearing that nasty ass shirt with what he called puke period.
Ew, yeah. Why did he call it that? So they go to change their clothing to get away from all that, to get off all that blood. But my question is, why are they going to the school in the Lost and Found to change their clothes? Why not just go to their houses and like change their clothes?
Yeah, I don't know. To take them off the scent? I don't know. I mean, I didn't think that it didn't bother me. I thought that maybe that was because they wanted to do it there and they wanted to get right to it. Because I mean, you know, they are going to be following her the whole time. So I guess if you're going to get right to business, might as well get right to business. But this is just one quick little part here that I want to get through that kind of leads up to nothing that I never understand. Was the sheriff going to the hospital, seeing the situation, you know, leaving, seeing the spot where Ruby was, finding the necklace, and then taking that note and slipping it into this random house that I didn't recognize it at all, saying it's happening again. You know, obviously recognizing that he knows the whole time, you know, that what is real and what's actually happening, but acting like a total goof.
So this is my personal opinion. This is what I think is going to happen. I think that he was part of the camp stuff that happened. I feel like he was there.
Oh.
And I feel like that house was the girl that died, that came back and said that they called, what's her name? Whatever her name is.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that's her. And, but I don't get the locket or anything like that other than him like realizing like, oh my God, she's back.
Oh my God.
So I think that's
okay.
That's my little thing that I think is happening with that situation. But we're back at the school with the kids, and they all separate for some reason. I would just change together, but they all get the clothes from the Lost and Found. They all separate, but Kate wants Josh to go in the bathroom with her to change, and she's like, "You need to check me over because I might have blood on me." Pretty much everyone does something a little sexual. They all kind of like get, you know, involved, Josh and Kate, and then Sam and Dina, and then as well as, I guess, Simon kind of is his own.
Simon making sweet love to himself.
The most like simple, just, you know, whatever. Yeah, just like, hey, who gives a shit?
And he was so proud too, because he was like, you know, did everybody go to Pound Town?
Yeah. He's like,
no way. He's like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't get like when Sam and Dina were in the bathroom and then like they were starting to get it on, and then pretty soon they heard like a door close, and then like they're like, what the hell? But nothing happened. Yeah. Like everyone's just like, eh. But then shortly, like after that, I think that's when they started coming up with the plan about like cutting Sam's hand to get the blood. But why do they always do that in movies? Why cut your hand? Like cut your leg or something where you're not using all the time. Like that requires like grabbing and stretching and.
Yeah, it's just such an inconvenient. Yeah, you use your hand all the time. Is it the most common place to heal up faster if you want to?
I don't think so. I mean, that's like, whatever. And it's a thick piece of steel. Like, your hands are pretty, like, that skin's pretty thick. So you have to cut through a lot.
Yeah. So the dynamic of the movie kind of changes because it kind of puts it in what feels like mission mode. Like, it gets a little bit more intense, but the way that the music is and the vibes of it gets a little bit different. And they make this concoction of, like, mixed water and blood and shit like that. And they make this giant blood trail that kind of goes all the way around the building, all leading into the bathroom. Right? It's a lot of work. And why would they have that much time?
Which is super ridiculous that no way is all of that blood would come from her hand. Even though it's diluted with water, no way.
Yeah, it was a stretch, but I liked the idea of it.
Yes.
And it followed through pretty well. So One thing that I like about what came out of it was when they were all standing in the hallway and everyone, and she, Kate was like, everybody's here. That moment was so intense when they all walked through and Ruby's just walking, doing her own thing, like being creepy as hell, just
right,
strutting her shit, singing that song.
Yeah, man. When she started singing, I was like, I would be so fast. And Simon did. He was out too, and I would have been so scared. I've been like, but they were all scary, dude. And like the situation when the skull mask goes by Kate, like at the very right before he goes, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna get her, and then he didn't. And that's what's weird. Like that situation where like they didn't attack them. But at the hospital, they attacked like the nurse at the front desk and Ruby and stuff like that. Like I don't and Pete. They have all these chemicals that they already pre-put into the bathroom, and they put a little bit. They shut the door, and Sam goes through the little crawl space where the drugs were actually hiding, where they hid the drugs originally in that box, the fruit or whatever they called it, and she crawls through there and comes out the other side, and they put a little bit more chemicals by the door and they light that sucker up, and that shit explodes, and they go in there with their fire extinguishers and put it all out.
So there's this goo, this paranormal goo that starts forming back in to the individual killers, and I actually thought that I was at first skeptical about how it was going to look as they went through and started to kind of turn back. But I think that they managed to make that CGI look pretty decent. I didn't think that it was as good as it could have probably been. But I think that, especially for as little as they actually use that kind of stuff in the movie, that actually looked pretty good and pretty gross too.
I agree with you 100%. And I actually thought that they were gonna I thought they were gonna combine all the killers, somehow make them look all weird, like a monster.
Ew, that would have been kind of cool. One final boss,
but which is fine. I was okay with them being separated because I liked all the killers separately, and the fact that they were all separate made it even scarier because they were all it was hard. Together or separate, you were screwed with this many people almost.
So once they realize that these killers are coming back, Kate pretty much has a total meltdown. At this point, she's like, all right, this is too much. And I understand. She totally cracked. She's like, this is just, Sam's got to go. This is the only way that this is going to work. Sam has to die. That's the only way that we're going to get through this. And if they're coming after her and she's going to die no matter what, why do we all have to go down with her? And nobody really disagrees. Nobody really disagrees except for, obviously, Dina and her bias because she's in love. And Sam decides to have the strength to take one for the team and go out there. And oh my goodness, if that was me out there in the quiet with the door locked behind me, just waiting, you know what I mean? Just, oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine just standing there waiting to just get brutally murdered just because you feel like you have to.
If I was Dina and Sam was Cameron, and then everyone else is my friends and stuff, I would be like, all right, so you guys stay here. I'm going with Cameron. I understand you guys don't want to be in this situation. I totally get it, and you shouldn't have to be. But I am not setting him out here by himself. I will die with him or whatever. We're going somewhere else. We'll figure it out a different way. But I could never in a million years have the strength to, send him out on his own. Which they come to the realization when Josh is looking at the papers and realizes that Berman, one of the victims of the witch back in the day, she had an article in the paper, and they realize this is who they were trying to call. They realize that mainly Josh realizes that she died. That's how she got rid of the witch. So they're like, hold up, let's get Sam back in this room. So they open this door and pull Sam in at the last minute right before the axe guy swings at her and actually hits the door as they close it. So it was super close. Now they have to border this door. And while they're bordering this door, Simon's pushing his body up against this door. He has goggles on too. Did you notice the goggles? Who gives a shit about these goggles at the moment? Who gives a fuck about your eyes? Shit's about to happen. But he puts himself against the door. If he puts that axe to that door, he'll get him. It doesn't make any sense for that. But
But that was when they were doing that kind of recreation of The Shining with the quick camera motion.
And it was
with the axe.
back and forth. It was very well done too.
Yeah, and it looked good.
Yeah.
It looked really good, especially that red light out there too.
Oh, I didn't notice the red light out in the hall.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was definitely intentional. It was definitely intentional to be like The Shining.
And so yeah, pretty much they like you said, they kind of figure out that Berman had to die to survive. And so they pretty much all consensually agreed that they're going to kill her and bring her back. I also will say that it took the axe guy forever to get in there. Like he was hitting that door hard as hell, and that door did not look very strong. So it was definitely an over-exaggeration of how long it took to get through there.
That's what I thought. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they were trying to call her when they were in there. Like come on. Like, you're trying to call this woman while... Like, how about you leave, call her somewhere else?
I was like, oh, this is happening right now. We're going to do this now. I mean, I guess don't waste time, but really right now? This is all convenient to do right now.
They eventually get out of the window. They leave through the window. The axe guy eventually breaks through, I guess. And he comes through, and they notice that they're running. And they go to the store where Simon must work at, like, either the store or the pharmacy in the store, because they need to use those drugs to kill Sam to help her bring her back to life with the adrenaline shot. Like 7 of them.
Yeah, the epinephrines, yeah. But another callback to one of the things from the beginning that was totally fucked. Simon literally yells, "Let's Timothy this bitch," referring to his younger brother who OD'd, and they're trying to get Sam to OD. So he's like, "Let's Timothy this bitch." And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this dude is...
Oh my God. I'm so glad that you said that, because I didn't realize. I kept on thinking, I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean, like, I was going to look it up. I'm glad you got the name reference, because I didn't pay attention enough to the name, to his brother's name.
I thought that it was nice also that it just it kind of like puts the cherry on top with the relationship that was between Kate and Josh, and she decides to give Josh a nice little kiss, and it may be a farewell kiss, and that's why she decided, just in case anything ever happens, I want to give you a smooch. I'm going to give you a wonderful smooch. And after that, you walk away. Simon and Josh are together, and they actually this is the first time that you really get, because Simon's kind of always picking fun at Josh just a little bit throughout the film, and you never really see them get to bond. So they have this moment, and Josh is kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know if Kate likes me. I don't know, I don't know if what's going on here." And Simon, actually being the nice guy that he is, hypes him up and says, "You're not giving yourself enough credit. You're an awesome guy. We wouldn't have got this far without you. So thank you, and just don't have any problems with that." And then we pan over to Sam having second thoughts about all these pills that she's taking when she's starting to feel woozy.
And, as she starts taking Dina's making her take these pills, and, like, handfuls of pills, dry. Like, can we just give her a glass of water? Like, what the hell? Like, this would be so much easier for all of us. Like, everyone. Just give her the damn water and let her, And she's throwing up and shit. My thing is, to go back real quick, they put a bloody X on all of them. Why did they not have, like, a tissue with some blood on it that they could carry around? And if some shit goes down, they throw the tissue. So Sam's throwing up and everything. Then while Dina's there, Sam's like, "There's behind you," and then there's, like, the one skeleton killer comes behind her, and then Kate comes up and, like, catches him on fire.
Yeah, like a badass.
Yeah, and it looked really cool.
That gets Ryan's attention, the skull killer, onto Kate. So that's the first head-to-head that we're going to be seeing here.
So he's after Kate, and Kate is trying to hide and see, they all run. So first, Dina and Sam are, like, see the fish tank, where the lobster fish tank, and that's pretty much, like, they're realizing, okay, I'm gonna have to drown you to make this end. And Kate is hiding in the meantime, watching the skull guy and how he's gone. She doesn't know where he goes or where he went. And then all of a sudden, boom, grabs the top of her head.
Oh, right above her, just right from the hair. I couldn't believe that. That surprised me.
I knew it was going to happen, though. I had like an inkling that something was going to happen, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. And she pulled her up. And that fight was pretty interesting. Like the fact that he tried stabbing her and she stopped it and then grabbed that muffin pan and like I was like, that was clever. And then he like pushes her face into the cake. Now, meanwhile, we're kind of going back and forth to everyone while this is happening. And she's screaming like bloody murder. But Dina and Sam are just like, well, we got to do this. It's like, either hurry up and kill her or go help her.
Go help your friend. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's going to die any minute. Like by the time you die, it's going to be too late. So go help her. And everyone is hearing this. Go help. Like quit walking around there. It's like, oh, no, go help her, your friend. So they don't help. And guess what happens? She gets stabbed. Yeah, and I did not expect this.
One of the most brutal deaths I've ever seen. Especially for someone that I felt connected to at that point in time.
Exactly. And she gets stabbed in like the stomach, and then she gets thrown onto this bread.
It's like a bread slicer.
Conveyor belt thing or whatever, and the bread slicer's right above her. She's screaming bloody murder. Her throat is like on fire with like the screams are rattling. And she just starts pushing her towards it. And at this point, I thought she was going to be saved. I thought at the last minute, like Simon or somebody was going to save her, or Josh was going to come and save her. But no, just pushes her into it, and she just...
And they just keep going. That shot, oh my God, that shot that just kind of dollied over and just watched, oh my God.
It was so real. Like, it went across her, it went in between her eyeball, it went all the way through.
Watching Kate get totally sliced up in that machine was just so disturbing and disgusting. Like, not only did they chose like the most filthy angle to do it at, where they panned across as she was getting drilled and then showing you the other side of like the top of her skull and brain matter just getting all, goopy and sliced up. So that was totally unexpected, and it hurt my feelings because I was not expecting her to die, and you end up liking her a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely liked her, but didn't it show like the one like blade thing went like across her eye?
It did, yeah, across the eyeball.
Like it looked really Yeah, it looked really real.
It was disgusting.
But the only thing is, if this is a bread cutter, are they really that sharp? Could they actually cut through a skull? Like, I feel like it's not gonna.
You might just be thinking, oh, it's just bread, but these manufacturers are still making like the sharpest, most like perfect, shiny, pristine knives that they could possibly make to like make sure, because you got to think they're probably slicing through hundreds and hundreds of. I don't know. I don't even know if
hundreds and hundreds of heads.
Well, I don't even know if this is a bread slicer. I don't even know for sure that that's what the thing is. But if it is,
everyone's been calling it bread slicer.
Okay. So, I would think that because of like production purposes that, they're slicing bread constantly. So they're going to want to have something that's sharp and it's going to work hundreds and hundreds of times over and over again. So I'm not surprised at all that like blades that are thin like that and are like the vibrations too, you know what I mean? Like the power being drawn to it too, that it's moving so fast that it would probably cut through almost anything. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, yeah, I think that that's realistic that fucked her up like that for sure.
I feel like they would have at least broke or something. One or two would have broke within there. I don't know. I could be wrong. How about you? Well, how about this? Listeners, if you have anything that you can tell us about bread slicers, if you've ever worked with them, go ahead and reach us.
Yeah, give us your spiel at don't spill the popcorn at gmail.com.
There you go. So then as soon as like Kate dies, like shortly after that, we still have Dina trying to drown Sam, but then Josh and Simon run up to where Kate's body is. They come across her and again shows her head just fucking nasty.
Found his probably first love and like has to see her dead in like the most disturbing, shocking way.
It sucked. I felt bad for him. I really did. And
Especially because they did so good this whole time. Like, they were actually kind of surviving really well, opposed to like how a lot of groups do. Like, people get picked off usually throughout the movie, but the whole crew was together. You know what I mean? Pretty much the whole movie, just perfectly fine doing their shit.
yeah, and so that's what, like, that death was super shocking. And not just that, but like right after that, Simon gets hit in the head with an axe. Like, that maybe, like, at first I went, oh, when Kate died, and then like right after Josh dies, and I'm just like, like, it just was insane. They killed two of like the main characters. Like,
Yeah, they mess you up real bad in that moment. Like, I felt super uncomfortable about all that. I was like, ooh, like, I don't even get time to process this because there's shit that needs to happen. You know, the people are still coming. The what would you call them?
The ghost witches, yeah.
The reincarnations. The reincarnations of those killers still coming after them still makes things have to move along no matter what. Like, you don't have time to grieve. You don't have time to, like, as the characters and as the watcher, you don't have any time.
Yeah, and I mean, when those two died like that, I mean, yeah, we got the other kills and stuff throughout the movie, which were great, but like, especially with Kate's head getting all nasty like that, at that point, I was just like, yes, we definitely aren't in a super PG-13 Goosebumps film. We are definitely now in an R-rated Fear Street film. Like, it was like, yeah, well, because you, like, part of you still feel like it was still kind of like you held on, that it was still possibly like a kid's kind of movie, like a kid's horror film, and you're like, not too much is gonna happen, but then this shit happens and you're just like, never mind.
I'm still recovering from those missing phalange holes.
Ooh, don't remind me of the phalanges.
So for Sam, back to Sam, the fucking Iron Lung herself. Did you kind of feel like they stretched that out just a little bit too long of her drowning?
Absolutely. If I was Sam, I guess at that certain point, I'd be like, yeah, I want to survive, so I'm going to fight. Like, that's your instinct.
I got super nervous because they were so straightforward about killing everybody off that at this moment now, Josh falls. And, you know, the guy that's coming after him is obviously, both of them. Both Nightwing and Ryan, the Skull Killer, both of them were fucking fast, brutal killers. So Josh was down. Josh fell. He was vulnerable. It was very easy to feel at that point like, oh, here goes another one. And I was starting to think at this point, oh, nobody's going to live. You know, it just started to feel like it, you know, it got so dire that I didn't think anybody was making it. So Josh was down. And just at the very last second, right on time, Sam finally takes her last little breath of water and perishes. Finally, Jesus Christ, like, we just wanted her to die forever. Just come on, Sam, just give it up. You know, one thing that I had to say, like, I just felt like when she was using the epinephrine to bring her back, and she was pounding her in the chest with those things, like one after the other, like what was it, like 7 of them, I think. And I was like, I think that's enough. Like, after 3, I was like, I think that's enough. Hey, I'm like trying to be like, you're gonna make sure that she stays dead. Like, if you keep doing all that.
I know, that's what I thought. I'm like, this is not gonna help at this point. This is just gonna kill her. But that's what's so stupid is we went from 7 adrenaline shots that I don't think it's really meant, like, it could help a little bit, but I don't think that's what you're supposed to use for something like that. But like, let's try the
That's how they saved Timmy.
CPR first. Like, why don't we actually try that? Which actually ended up being what worked. I know. And then she sits there and cries when the adrenaline shots didn't work. She's like, wait a minute. Okay, I can come back and I can actually, you know, do some compressions. It's like, you should have just been doing them.
Did you notice when Sam finally spit up, it like went right into her nose? Like that, it went right in. Like, just her head was tilt back just enough. I'm sure that she fucking hated that. She spit up and it just literally like drained and flooded into her nose and down the top of her face. I was like, ooh, 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 ooh.
That's gross. And it was all white and foamy and nasty.
Yeah, yeah. All bubbly and shit. But great music again in that moment. Right there, like, definitely topped it all off with some really great music continuing on there.
Now we're at, after this is all said and done at the store, we are now at the cop station and they're interviewing the survivors. So Josh, Sam and Dina, and they have all these cuts and stuff, and the officer's like, "Wow, how'd you get these?" And they all say glass. But one thing that sticks out to me is Sheriff Good says to Sam that she looks like a ghost, and I'm like, really? Like she looked like a ghost from the get-go. Like she actually looked better in that shot when he said that than she did throughout the whole movie after the wreck.
You think so?
Yeah, she looked drained.
That is such a sick burn, because I thought that she looked awful when he said that. I was like, damn, yeah, for sure she looks like she died and somehow she's still alive.
See, no, I feel like she looked worse throughout the whole film. Like she already looked like she was like dying. Like she looked
Maybe I just didn't notice.
colorless.
I mean, the last time that I can think of her is when she was in her cheerleading.
Well, she didn't look
outfit,
like that.
and she just looked kind of ivory. See, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's the last time that I really can think about what she looked like before she looked like that. So maybe I missed
That's
that.
where I give the film credit, like, and the actors to be able to look raw, look like they would in a situation where, holy shit, she just got in this really bad car wreck, and now she has to like run for her life, and everyone else around her is dying. So I give them kudos for that.
Even though Sheriff Good knows exactly what's going on, he knows exactly what the situation is. We see him deliver some note to somebody saying that he is definitely well aware that this shit's going on again. And he still goes in with, following through with his job and saying that he's going to have to make those two, quote unquote, the junkies responsible for the deaths of the people at the hospital.
Which sucks. That sucks, but
So sad. And she's, and I liked when, Sheriff Good says to Dina, do you really want them to go down for this? And she just says no, but they're already fucking dead. So just going to let it happen. What else is she going to do?
yeah, because if not, then she's gonna tell the truth, and then she's gonna like be in a psych ward or whatever they're gonna do. Like they give her no options.
Right. Because it doesn't seem like at this point, yeah, he seems like the kind of person where it's like he wants to be in the know, but if anybody else is in the know, then he's going to have to do something about it. That's the impression that I got. Which is why I didn't blame her for not saying anything, especially after he didn't believe her the first time. And I don't know if I believed him about actually opening up. You know what I mean? Like, what could he have reported on any differently if she spoke the truth? What would have really been any different? The conversation. That's about it.
Exactly. Because if he did know the truth, is he going to say more, or is he still going to report it as the two quote unquote druggies that caused all this? I'm hoping that we will get more answers from the next two films within one of them or both of them with that situation.
I don't remember if we mentioned this earlier or not, but Josh hooking up the guy with the paperclip.
Yeah, no, we didn't bring it up.
Yeah, so he could get out. And I'm wondering, just like you were wondering as well, if that will play some sort of role in the future, or if it's just if it was just a little snippet that they, like a throwaway thing that they threw in there.
I feel like we talked about it, but maybe we didn't. But yeah, I definitely feel like he's gonna come back somewhere. Like,
and then he gives him his card. He gives
Yeah.
him. He gives him his, like, I'm gonna hook you up. Like, I got you.
but that's nice of him. Like, he didn't have to do that. He probably wouldn't have never seen this kid again. Now he's about to get in a shit show.
He's a janitor. What's he gonna? Oh, I'm gonna fucking clean your bathroom for the rest of your life.
Hey, we don't know what he does. He could have two jobs, and the janitor job is just
maybe
a front.
I want
or
to
a
know what
side
that card's about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who knows? I want to know what that card's about.
Maybe he just has like really good massages. He's like, maybe you need a good shoulder massage. I don't know. So after Josh gives that guy that clothes or the paperclip, we're now greeted out front by Sam's mother, which we already knew she was pretty much a bitch in this film without even seeing her. And now we see her, and we know she is a bitch still. And Sam is about to leave, and Dina says, "Will I see you tomorrow?" And then Sam says no. And then we're like, oh, she's not going to see her? What? Because of her mom, being homophobic. And then she's like, I'm going to see you tonight. Is pretty much what she said. And then gives her a big old sloppy kiss in front of the mom. Yep. And the mom wasn't happy, pulled her real quick, and I'm like, you can go.
And I loved that little smile that Sam gave Dina, like while her mom was pulling her just right out the door, like right before her face was gone. Just that look that she gave back at her, like the connection between those two actors, they definitely did really well.
Yeah, they did. I thought they felt really real, and I liked their chemistry, and I'm glad that she, in a sense, stood up to her mom, and hopefully her mom will come around if we see it or not. But if not, I just hope that them two can have a good life.
Later on, then after that moment, when Sam decides to be a badass and empower herself, it goes to them chilling at, I believe, Dina's house, and they're doing their own thing, and then the doorbell rings. So we're like, okay, I guess this shit's not over yet. I guess it seems like they're kind of, with the music and everything that's going on, the way that she's acting, like, seems like something's up. So she goes out to go check out what the situation is, and it turns out that Josh got them pizza. And I don't know why she was like making such a big deal that he was nice and got food. But I guess that maybe that was just I don't know. It just seemed like that was like, she made it seem like it was like the nicest, most loving, brotherly thing that he could have done. I mean, he was like, I just got pizza, so yeah. I mean, he understood. He's like, I just got pizza, so I don't see what the big whoop-de-doo is. And then the phone rings, and it turns out that it is that Berman woman that they tried to call originally at the most random time that inconveniently did not give them any answers.
Well, the lady on the phone, Berman, she like we were saying, she said that it's not over. It's never over. And then we go into a shot of like all these names on these stones. And then Sam's name gets like magically carved into the stone. And then like Dina turns around and she's like, Sam. And then we look down. We have a head like over the head shot kind of situation. Yeah, like up above them looking down. And I knew this was going to come back. I knew it. I was waiting for it. I forgot about it, but I'm glad it came back. But the drumstick that she broke, I knew that this was going to be a foreshadow. I thought it was going to be used against like a killer or something. But Sam has this broken drumstick that Dina broke earlier in the film, and she stabbed Dina in the stomach. Dina dramatically falls on the ground, where I thought she was dead the way she fell, but they're fighting now. Like they're trying to, like she's still okay.
I thought that she was dead the way that she fell the first time. Like I thought that was just going to be it. And then all of a sudden, next time they show them, they're like going absolutely crazy at each other, like seriously, like life-threatening fighting.
I know. I was like, oh shit, it's still happening.
I didn't expect it to escalate so quickly. Like I didn't expect her to just turn back all of a sudden or get possessed, all of a sudden, just like that, right at the end of the movie.
No, I was. This whole ending, I was not expecting.
Definitely took things in a nice twist for me, for sure.
I was not expecting any of it. And then while all this is happening, Josh is down in his little fort thing, computer thing. I actually don't think he's in the fort. I think he's just on the computer.
Listening to the most badass fucking Soundgarden song. I love that song. The day I tried to live, which was so cool because that's on the same album that I just did. That's one of their songs from for my Instagram.
So apparently you need to get the soundtrack, maybe on record, if they have it.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of 90s shit, but 90s grunge, fuck yeah.
Then Josh is downstairs while they're fighting. Yeah, to Queen Air of Farts and stuff, whatever her name is. And pretty much saying that the people, like, that she's talking, like, again, we don't ever get to know who she is. So I'm hoping in the other movies we do, but she's texting or writing AOLing Josh and saying, I heard it was druggies, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, they're actually really good people and I miss them. And I mean, because literally it just happened, night before? Like, it hasn't even been 24 hours and they're just like already on AOL and ordering pizzas and like, whatever. That's the only part that I was like, this is kind of stupid. Yeah.
Nobody immediately went home and called a therapist. Like,
right? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I think the first thing you need to do is call a therapist. But whatever. So Josh is writing to that queen lady, and we can kind of see in the screen a bloody hand come up and touch his shoulder. We're not supposed to know whether it's Sam or it's Dina. I knew it was Dina. But she turns him around and he's just like, oh. And then now it shows Sam wrapped up in a phone cord.
Veins are popping out of her neck. You know what I mean? She's like flexing and squirming really hard.
And she looks, she's looking gross.
Yeah, that was some good possession zombie-ish acting right there.
The only thing I hated about it is that one ending, like, little growl. She, like, darted towards the camera at the very end. It just looked very lame. Like the way they wanted to end it. I was just like,
probably had some other shots to choose from. Yeah,
I know, right? I was just like, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it definitely was like, ugh. All right.
And just the way that after that Dina went up to her and she was like, "I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna fix you," and I was like, "Oh God, she's snapped. Like everything is like literally a mess." Like she seemed so delusional. You know what I mean? Like she just seemed completely out of it at that point.
And did Sam have a fly on her while she was like?
I never noticed these flies. I did not notice the flies throughout the entire thing.
All right. Well, there was definitely flies throughout, just maybe not right there. And then we get a to be continued ending credit, which is so weird to see on a film when, like, I'm just in my brain, like it's almost like set up like a TV series or something where it's just like to be continued. It's weird when you see movies like that. It doesn't usually happen. So, but I still feel like I'm watching a movie.
It's nice to get that movie format, but still get more of it in that kind of to be continued TV series thing. Because they're filmed two completely different ways, for sure. And we still got all the character developmental shit that we wanted and everything. It was a very nice, neat, tied up, perfect little present that was given to us.
And what happens when you have those three films that were pretty much filmed probably around all the same times and stuff that were all connected, they have it so that the writers pretty much knew what they were going to do. Like they had an opening and ending thing where it's not like a movie came out and then like 2 years later, like, okay, here's a sequel. We got to figure out something. All right, now what's the next sequel? Instead, they're like, here's all three of them. And it's all one giant movie.
Yeah, they were like, it's almost like they planned out the perfect summer extravaganza set of movies to put out. It was a good idea. Whoever came up with the like marketing idea for this was definitely they definitely need to. Other people need to hire this person if they're not already. You know what I mean? Because that was a good idea, and they must have many more other good ideas to follow that up. So before we have anything else to say about this movie, let's dive right into your conclusionary, like I did last time, thoughts on Fear Street, 1994, Part 1.
So my final thoughts on Fear Street, 1994, Part 1. I loved this movie. It is exactly what I needed, not knowing I needed it, but I needed it, and I got it. And I love it. And as anybody knows, again, I will say it for the umpteenth time because Scream is so important to me. This movie really, really did well with, I mean, it was its own film, but it had so many awesome elements and it was a pretty thing to look at. And the music was just phenomenal. The actors were great, and their connection, their chemistry was so cool, and the characters, like the killers, were creepy. I really thought the characters were like I didn't feel like any of the characters were like, I don't feel like you belong. So I love the fact that it was a slasher, but also a witch paranormal film. Like I love that they were able to do both. Like you don't ever see that. You never see that. So they did it. It was different. And I love it. And before you give your little like review thing, I wanted to say, like, ask you, just from this film, what you've seen from these three main killers, which one was your favorite?
I think that Ruby is the creepiest. I think that Nightwing is like the kind of the most intimidating. You know what I mean? Like just kind of the one that, like when he's coming after anybody, like he definitely makes me feel the most like I feel like they don't have a chance at all. But I still just felt like my favorite one was Ryan and his Skullface costume. Something about probably a lot of it had to do with the way that they shot him and how much he was actually involved throughout the whole movie. But just like kind of this lanky, quick running guy with just this little blade and this creepy suit that's just like quick and, you know what I mean, just sprinting all over the place is that one. That one is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Skull Ryan killer guy, I think he was creepy and fast and swift, and I thought the mask looked really detailed and cool. But yeah, I definitely liked him a lot. He was my favorite. And then I think my second favorite was the sack face guy, just because, I mean, he was kind of like that typical like 80s slasher killer thing, which I'm sure I might change my mind a little bit more maybe by the second film. I don't know. But I think that, yeah, the skull killer Ryan guy is my favorite.
You know, maybe both of our thoughts will change. And maybe after we do the second review, we'll say, you know, maybe if there's more of those same exact killers being involved in the second one, then maybe we could say, you know, if that changes by chance, you know, if they give us more of a, because I felt like the first one, like I was saying, revolves more around the Skullface killer. So from what it's seeming, the second one will have more to do with Nightwing from the, you know what I mean? So, you know, who knows? Maybe after getting a little bit more of that one, you know, who knows? We might find that we like that killer more, or you know, whoever it's, you know, whatever we're getting more of, you know, even in the third film, you know, who knows? So I think next episode we should definitely say if that still was our favorite killer in the film so far, or if it changed.
So I would give this film, Fear Street Part 1, 1994, for me personally, maybe not for like the average viewer, this is my own personal feeling just because of how much it means to me. I would say I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 empty popcorn buckets.
Very nice. Very, very nice. That is definitely a movie that is worthy of such a score. And truthfully, I didn't think that, especially because of the rating that we gave, you know, we gave Cruella a really good score as well. You know, so I honestly, I just kind of expected most of the movies that we would be rating kind of between 3 and 7. Like, or like maybe like a 6, you know what I mean? Like a high 6, but I can't give it a 7. So I'm definitely feeling overjoyed, and I'm sure that you have the same feeling too, where it's just really nice to actually be kind of conveniently getting a good set of films to be reviewing at the same time that we decided to start reviewing films. Like even things that are coming up in the future, like things are looking like, I'm super excited, especially with technology and CGI and visual effects getting the way that it's getting now, even better than it's been. I'm ready. My body and mind is so ready to rate these films. I don't care if we hand out 9s and 10s all day long. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. That would be wonderful. That would be fantastic. Oh my goodness. I pretty much, you know, I could sit here and go on and on forever, and I'll pretty much be echoing, you know, nearly exactly what you're saying. You know, even up to I didn't even know that I needed this until I watched it, and after I watched it, I'm like, yeah, wow, I really needed that. Like that was very nice. The way that they, you know, combined different elements and different subgenres and put them into one nice, neat little package with some great acting, some great visual effects, some great fucking music just hanging out in the background that, you know, sometimes it's so good that you don't even know the music's playing. It's so good that it's just all one conglomerated piece of joy that has been gifted to us. And I think that the director, the actor, the whole crew, the editing staff, everybody is just killing it. So I have never been more overjoyed to hear of sequels coming up more in my life, because most of the time whenever I hear sequel, I'm like, God, you know, and most of those people get years. That, you know what I mean? Like they put years in between those movies, you know, before they pop out a second one, and they just bang these out. And I have very high expectations for number 2. And truthfully, I could just, like I said, I could go on forever. So I'm just going to hit you with my rating, and I'm going to be sitting real nice, tight, and solid at an 8 out of 10 empty popcorn buckets.
Very nice. That's a good one. That is a good one. Wow.
I'm hanging on really tight for 9 and 10. I'm really trying to be super careful about what I put in those two, but it totally makes sense that you are 9 out of 10, especially because of that. You know, like you said, that it has a really close place to you. So it totally makes sense that, You know what I mean? This is total. I was almost thinking that you were going to give it a 10 out of 10 because of how well that you praised it. I thought you were going to drop a 10.
It's hard. It's hard to drop a 10. It's hard to drop a 10.
Definitely, but this feels like because of how fresh and very nicely put together that it was, besides excusing a few things, I definitely thought you very well may have given it a 10. But I'm glad that you did 9 because 9's more realistic for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have to remember too, like, it isn't perfect. There was some things that, made it less desirable in certain moments where I was like, why questioning things.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts. Those are our final thoughts and our ratings on this wonderful part of a 3-set series coming out. I think, is it every 2 weeks?
I think it's every week. So we have one next week too. So is Cruella still your favorite film that we have reviewed so far on this season?
This one definitely is now my new favorite movie that we've done. And I also did not expect to just be kicking these babies off of the top of the totem pole there, one after the other, like as we're watching, like it's just immediately being replaced. But that is definitely my new favorite movie that we reviewed. And, clearly it has the highest rating from both of us. So I would be interested to see if we ever put a new favorite movie ahead of a movie, but it has a lower rating. Do you think that'll ever happen?
I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah, I mean, I've already thought about it because I don't want that to like change the way, because we might think like, we might know that we're like, yeah, it's not that good between like, we know what other people are going to say, like the story might be kind of shitty or the production might be kind of shitty, whatever the case may be. But for some reason, we just really like it. It's like one of those ones where it's so stupid, we just like it. And that, that could be an option. But yeah, so there's nothing holding us back. This is our podcast. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, we ain't got no boss. You ain't the boss of us.
So I also agree with you, obviously, that this is now my new favorite horror, or my new favorite film that we have reviewed on this season so far. Fear Street Part 1, 1994.
So if you liked this review, if you like what we had to say, if you like the things we talked about and how we feel about things and how we kind of break things down, please go ahead, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on a YouTube channel. You can help us by pledging on our Patreon if you would like to back us up monetarily so that we can keep doing the thing. And other than that, look forward to the part 2 being 1978 coming up right around the corner for episode 5. And so before we wrap this up, Dylan, is there anything going on with you right now that you would like to toss at me? Any updates about the short film other than saving our faces and being better than Army of the Dead by fixing that very ironic dead pixel? Anything at all?
Nope. Nothing right now. Just work. A lot of work right now.
Working for the industry. Blood, sweat, and tears, baby.
I mean, I guess I can say what it is too now because it's already been in the news.
Oh, nice. Okay, so big reveal. Here we go.
I am working currently on a League of Their Own. It's going to be a series. It's kind of like, because there's a League of Their Own movie back in the day. So this is going to be a new take on it. I don't know many details about it. I just know that it's...
What was the original one about?
Baseball, softball, or something like that.
Oh, literally like baseball league, a league of their own. Okay, I see. Cool, nice. Well, for me, I don't really have anything going on right now. I'm just trying to get all of my ducks in a row with some things. I haven't streamed. I was hoping I would have a streaming update about what I've been doing or any of that.
I was hoping too, but... I'll watch you when you are.
Yeah, I don't got anything. So hopefully soon. I'm still planning on finishing it. I do want to finish the game. So the only difference is now I don't have that ice broken, so I'm going to have to go through getting through that first barrier of anxiety playing this game all over again that I've put myself through now twice.
And remember where you left off.
Yeah. No, actually I do remember. I do remember where I was pretty vividly. I'm surprised I haven't repressed any of my memories from this game yet. But yeah, so if you want to sit around and not do anything but wait around every day hoping that I might stream, you can follow me and check out that page at youtube.com/blumsvoyage, where I usually just post my live streams from my PlayStation game playing, where you can see my floating head and see me say dumb things and make dumb faces and look pale as hell because I have that light on me and I'm white as a ghost.
And you could press the subscribe button and bell if you don't want to sit around and wait and just get notified when he's on.
Genius.
So do it.
Genius. So just do it. Yeah, come hang out with us. We're a good time. We're chill. We're open-minded. Just come hang out. Leave a comment. Share with your friends. And other than that, we just want to throw at you some films that did previously come up before this episode and things that will be happening after. So last week on New Movies in July, we have Boss Baby, Family Business, Till Death, and Black Widow. And those are just the ones that I'm putting out there that I thought looked really great. And if that's in your neck of the woods, any of those movies, I definitely would suggest to watch them. None of them have been seen by me, but I still feel pretty confident after seeing trailers that they all look like wonderful movies.
Well, thanks for the advertisement, Joe. I'm sure that the producers love you for it.
For free.
Next week, we have... for free?
You're welcome.
Next week, we have Space Jam, A New Legacy.
How you feel about that? How you feel? Because I know that you watched the old Space Jam, right? You watched the old Space Jam. Tell me you did.
That's the one with Bugs Bunny?
It's like one of the best movies in the world. That was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't know until reading this. Hey, Joe, would you put Fear Street above Space Jam or below it?
No way, below it, for sure. Sorry, Fear Street, but Space Jam was most dope.
I'll watch it. I'm not like, I remember it from a kid, but it wasn't like, I don't have the connection like you do.
I have like a huge nostalgia factor. Yeah, there's a huge nostalgic factor.
Okay, cool. Well, and then the last one is Escape Room Tournament of Champions. And that's it. I'm glad that you guys listened. I hope you guys will be back for our other ones, especially for the next two films for the Fear Street series. And while you are watching these, sit down, relax, put in some popcorn, bring it out, put it in a bowl, keep it in the bag. It don't matter. But whatever you do, don't spill the popcorn.
You just see me in Florida, just sweating on a bench outside, just furiously editing because I can't sleep because I'm too busy during the day.
And the storm's coming in behind you, like it's really dramatic. Like the wind starts picking up. You're just like, you're starting to sweat and you're wiping off your forehead, and then the thunder.
I stop real quick. I get out of the bubble and I just I get my bag out from my car and I just put sandbags down that's holding me in a bubble on the park bench. It's genius. Elsa didn't do shit to me.
Let's see it happen.
Oh, liberty.
To talk about this episode, I begged Joe to do this one. I remember we were like on the border of like possibly doing this.
That's what's so funny about it though, is you because I wasn't answering you felt like you were kind of like egging me on or begging me to do it, but at the whole time, like on my end, I was like, oh yeah, we should definitely do that for sure. Like I would love to do that, but I didn't say anything to you about it.
Oh, I can't.
I was just like silently agreeing and not.
And I demanded it. I said yes. I said yes. Let's do it.
And when you said that, I was like, okay, I don't have to reply for even longer. He's already got it down.
Save both of our times.
Oh, my God. I hear you peeing. Nope, I'm not saying anything. Go watch the trailer. Just go watch it. Dylan. And did you watch it?
What is Holy Kills?
Aha! Yes, go watch it. I'm talking to you now and the audience.
Well, that's okay. I don't remember half the shit that you tell me either. That's why I'm like, what? I said that?
Oh, that's good.
Hopefully I don't ever say anything too bad.
I've noticed, yeah, because you will have no guilt because you will not remember that you even said it.
I know. And then someone's going to say, you motherfucker, comes up to me, and I'm going to be like, what did I do?
And you'd be like, whatever you're saying, you're probably right.
We could be wrong. You guys can hate us, but
You can hate us. That's fine.
we're going to move on from Cruella because that was the whole...
Shun us. This rated R Netflix original directed by Leigh Janiak. Is that how you would pronounce that name?
Let me try. Let me give it a shot. Directed by Leigh Janiak. That's what we're gonna go with one of them. One of those two have to be right, guys?
Categorized under the drama, horror, mystery genres. I was going to puke when I said horror. Categorized under the drama, horror. I keep doing that. Excuse me. I love that. I haven't said frickin' in so long, so that's fun too. That was a nice reason to say frickin'. You want to say frickin'?
Yeah.
You say frickin' a while?
I'm gonna say frickin'.
Frick.
Frickin' nice. This movie was frickin' nice.
That was actually one of my first bad words, I think. Crap, and then frick. I was like, frick.
You know what mine was?
What was it?
Lip shits.
No, it wasn't.
From Rugrats. I said that shit a lot. I'd say lip shits, and I used to get yelled at.
It, you little sneak.
Lip shits.
You little sneak. Oh, that's...
What a name. What a name, though.
I know. What a great doctor. What a great doctor.
Maya. Maya.
You're lying.
We're going way on a tangent. I haven't even got to talk about these faces, so it really is, dude. It's so loud. I'm like, by the time I listen, I'm like, pull that shit up. Spoiler.
Which also, I have been a naughty boy, and Cruella did not have you saying spoilers in the opening music for the spoiler section.
It didn't. Why?
Because I forgot to put it in there.
Oh, I thought it sounded different or something, but no biggie.
And I was like, yep, nope. I feel like I'm like giving myself an excuse because we're so early in, and I can just always be like, yeah, we were so young then. The podcast was so young. I'm just gonna make mistakes. But it's really just me being like, fuck it. It's just
yeah. Well, we'll still do that throughout the life of this podcast because who cares?
Right?
We're just here to have fun.
We just started. Have like 500 episodes. We're just getting started. Still learning shit. Give us a break. Because if Dylan Huffman doesn't know, then they're a nobody.
Shut the hell up.
God damn it, dude.
We'll be like 80 years old.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, I hope that my nurse is nice and helps me set my stuff up.
They'll help you wipe your asshole.
No, I don't need any help with that. I'm going to have one of those spigot cleaners.
A bidet?
Yes, Dylan. I mean, a bidet. That fancy ass cleaning shit right there. That's what I'm going to have.
I've always wanted one of them. But I don't want cold water.
But I'm going to have one
on
everywhere, just in case. Because, you know,
oh, you're just going to carry one around? Maybe by then they'll make, like, bidet diapers where, like, it'll just squirt your ass when you're, like, you have a diaper on. You're like, oh, I'm all clean.
Well, you know those things that go around and they clean your carpets and shit like that? Whatever they're called? The little cleaner things.
Oh, yeah. I have one of those.
They're going to be advanced in a while where they're going to, you know, they'll be able to have, like, scent glands. Well, they'll know that you're incontinent.
Ew, dude, that's so
And it
gross.
will go, and eventually it'll come over to you, and it'll do what you need to do, and it'll spray you and collect. It'll collect the water and your dirtiness, and then you're all good. And you just got to empty it, so you can virtually use the restroom anywhere.
I mean, there's a couple of them. It says like music by Marco
Polo.
Beltrami.
Pastrami. Yeah, Peter's a fucking jerk. Excuse me.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa. Jerk.
Oh my god, I must be dehydrated. He needed to work a double.
You
He
and your
needed to work a
voice.
double. I know, dude. I know.
Puberty. We're going back to high school. Actually, we might be going back to middle school.
This is all on theme. This is all acted. This is all on purpose. Yes, I'm developing. Like, this is the only way that this is going to work. Sam has to die. I'm so sorry. Sam has to die. Why? Sam has to die. Thank you, voice. Sam has. If you work at a bakery or somewhere that has a bread slicer like that, and you happen to think to yourself, I wonder how realistic it would be to put somebody's skull through this bread machine. Maybe a coworker, perhaps, your boss. Maybe a family member that's just super fucking annoying and you got tired of their shit. Who knows? But if you think that it's possible because you use that machine, definitely let us know.
But don't hold us to it. Don't blame us for your killing spree.
You fucking psycho. Just so the people know, the last time that we recorded, because this is actually us recording again, we had to get together again. This is some behind the scenes. We got pretty much all the way through recording this. Probably just the last 30 minutes would be left. And my computer died. It just took a big old shit.
And then we died. I died.
In the middle of, I think that, yeah, we were about 3 hours and 40 minutes in our conversation when my computer just totally took a big old poopy. And so we were both completely devastated because we both barely had the time to squeeze this in. And, I wanted to be working, he wanted to be working, all this other stuff. So we put some time, time got put aside so that we could do this thing. And, yeah, it was rough because I thought that it was gone. We both thought that there was no way we were getting this back. Now we wouldn't be able to do this 3-part series. It was super sad, and it might have ended up being a defining moment for how much work that we put into this coming in the future.
Oh, it would have been so sad.
So, yeah, luckily enough, as you can see, because you just listened to it, I managed to find that there was a backup file that it saved as I was recording, luckily, off the program, and put it together, and here we are. So let's all just be let's start. We should all celebrate at this moment because that was one hell of a save, because we are so excited to do the rest of these films. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you come around for episode 5, because this is going to be one hell of a trifecta.